الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها النبي إذا طلقتم النساء فطلقوهن لعدتهن وأحصوا العدة واتقوا الله ربكم لا تخرجوهن من بيوتهن ولا يخرجن إلا أن يأتين بفاحشة مبينة وتلك حدود الله ومن يتعد حدود الله فقد ظلم نفسه لا تدري لعل الله يحدث بعد ذلك أمرا فإذا بلغن أجلهن فأمسكوهن بمعروف أو فارقوهن بمعروف وأشهدوا ذوي عدل منكم وأقيموا الشهادة لله ذلكم يوعظ به من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر ومن يتق الله يجعل له مخرجا ويرزقه من حيث لا يحتسب ومن يتوكل على الله فهو حسبه إن الله بالغ أمره قد جعل الله لكل شيء قدرا واللائي يئسن من المحيض من نسائكم إن ارتبتم فعدتهن 3 أشهر واللائي لم يحضن وأولاة الأحمال أجلهن أن يضعن حملهن ومن يتق الله يجعل له من أمره يسرا ذلك أمر الله أنزله إليكم ومن يتق الله يكفر عنه سيئاته ويعظم له أجرا أسكنوهن من حيث سكنتم من وجدكم ولا تضاروهن لتضيقوا عليهن وإن كن أولات حمل فأنفقوا عليهن حتى يضعن حملهن فإن أرضعن لكم فآتوهن أجورهن وأتمروا بينكم بمعروف وإن تعاسرتم فسترضع له أخرى لينفق ذو سعة من سعته ومن قدر عليه رزقه فلينفق مما آتاه الله لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا ما آتاها سيجعل الله بعد عسر يسرا وكأين
As the Gender war rages on. In order to keep the peace, we must discuss the exact facts. Welcome to Exactly. I'm your host, Saudi Imam. Remove your shoes and enter upon your right foot, upon the right state of mind, bi'idhnillah. Topic: her body count. Exes. Foodie calls. Work husbands. Does exes plus foodie calls plus work husbands equal her body count? Generally, when we discuss anyone's body count, it hinges upon those that have actually had relations with that individual. I mean, full relations as in penetration. Now, there has been a recent phenomena which, just as we would say, or people say in general, do not ask women their weight, right? You don't ask them their age, and you especially don't ask them their weight. This is well known. In recent times, because of the degradation of society and its degenerative nature of kufr, because Islam is not the order of the day, we have people asking not only age, they're asking weight, and they're asking body count. Meaning, how many have you been with before myself? How many have you been with before myself? Now, why is this important? It's important because the amount, it's been proven, this is scientifically proven, that the amount of previous partners a woman has before the next man greatly affects her ability to pair bond. And speaking of bond, here's a brother I have a bond with. This is brother Black Mind. Assalamu alaikum, akhi.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Sorry for the echo, but am I clear?
Oh, yeah, you're good. You're good, alhamdulillah. You're good. So,
Alhamdulillah.
as I was saying, I don't know if you caught the intro, but as I was saying, that the amount of bodies that she has affects her ability to pair a bond. So if a woman has a certain amount of bodies, the percentages of the relationship lasting, the marriage lasting, goes down, 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 and it does not progress. It does not go up in any capacity, okay? So body count is indeed important. Again, today we're asking age, today we're asking weight, and today we're asking, I don't know why it's not showing up on YouTube, but today we're asking as well body count, because it has been proven scientifically that, and statistically, this is math, okay? Math is indisputable, okay? And it's been proven that the amount of body she has prior to you lowers her chance of pair bonding with you, just as if you marry a woman who is a virgin, as I was discussing with my two teen sons today, and we can I'll briefly go over that. You marry a woman that's a virgin, your relationship is more than likely, overwhelmingly more than likely to last. Okay, overwhelmingly more likely to last, just as from Jahiliyyah, dealing with virgins from Jahiliyyah, they tend to remember that first guy. They tend to remember that first guy. Even one woman, one Kafir woman, said she made a promise to her first that no matter who she's with, married, shacking up, or whatever, he will forever have access. This is real life. I'm not joking. So the pair bonding phenomena is true. So we have to be really, really careful And I have to mention, I have to throw out this caveat and mention that I don't think the pair bonding, I think the pair bonding matters in this case, but we don't count married women or married women that were married to their husbands. We don't count those as bodies. Bodies is a term used for women that have lowered inhibitions and do not guard their zina as Allah Ta'ala has ordered them to guard it. So this is my introduction to it, and I would like to say, exes, this is my contention, or this is my statement. Exes add to a woman's body count, whether it was intimate or not. Foodie calls, that guy that brings you food, he's at your behest. He's groveling. He's at your beck and call. Okay? He answers the foodie call. He takes you out, and you have no, you date him for the food, and you have no intention on giving up the goods. Okay? Or marrying him, which takes us to sit downs. I know women that take sit downs to get a meal. And the law is witness to this. They are taking sit downs to get a meal. Okay? And lastly, work husbands. That guy who raises your self esteem, supposed to be esteem of yourself, but he raises your self esteem because he's giving you compliments. That's your work husband. Hey Tyrone, can you, Chad, can you get that off the top shelf? Not even his job. Your job that you're inefficient at, he has to do it for you, but that's your work husband. The guy you vent to when you and your actual husband are into it. These are things that we are experiencing. We're experiencing things like this, these so-called work husbands. I find it very, very disrespectful, and it could cause loss of life, even double homicides. So with that being said, that's my introduction. What do you have on that, Yahi?
Well, the things that ruin a woman's ability to pair bond include bodies, but in all honesty, it really includes everything that we men do to make things too easy, and that's something that we do. We walk around here making things too easy. Um, I've been stating for years that there's really not much else that Western men have been doing, and that's unfortunately including a lot of the Muslims that grew up in the West. There's really nothing else that we've been doing wrong except that we make things too easy sexually and financially. That's why it is that they lose this ability to pair bond overall. I mean, for one, they can already get a high body count easily. That's not something men can do easily, even when women like a particular man. So the fact that they can get one easily, um, and then the fact that there's no shame and nothing stopping them from getting, socially stopping them from getting a high body count in the West, that's the beginning of it. But the things that men do in trying to get any body count at all, even if it's just marriage. The things that the fact that men are the ones who are trying to woo the women, trying to impress the women, that also lowers her ability to pair bond. Every guy that tries lowers her ability to pair bond. So if she's already picked up a body count, let's say she's fornicated with two guys already, and then she gets cat calls every now and then. That also, the cat calls then also lower her ability to pair bond. Guys asking her out on dates lowers her ability to pair bond. Even if she accepts, all these things lower it because it's simply too easy for her. And women say, well, men can't appreciate something that's not difficult to acquire. Well, we probably could. I mean, we appreciate many things in life that are not difficult to acquire. But they tend to be that way. They have a hard time appreciating things in life that are not difficult to acquire. And men are not difficult. So they wind up losing their ability to bond with men because we're too easy. And then when they come across a man with standards, then he's too strange and weird, and they're not ready for that either. And they wind up unable to bond with any man because, frankly, not only have they gotten these body counts, which is a problem, but we never put up barriers to them getting these body counts.
Okay. Okay.
And so they don't have a reason to bond with, as far as they know. I mean, they don't have a reason to bond with men. And the men with whom they should bond, if they can't recognize as being such men later on.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that. The the I'm gonna go on to something else real quick before we hit the women's body count again. Let's talk about the man's body count, because every time we mention a woman's body count, what is the next question? Mainly from the women and some ultra simpish dudes. What about a man's body count? I heard a man actually say that. What about a man's dude? That dude is so out of touch, and you can tell who he was raised by. You know, he was raised in a house full of women. More than likely, he's the only male child. You know, he's probably the youngest child. You know, and it's amazing. He said, "What about the men's body count?" But generally, this comes from women, so probably he'll transition later on in life, if not tomorrow. But women usually say, "What about the man's body count?" Well, anyone that questions what about the man's body count has deficient aqidah. Now, how can I relate that to the aqidah? Because Islam is called Deen al-Fitr, right? Islam is called the deen of natural disposition, okay? The natural way of life, for lack of a better English term, right? That's what that means. It agrees with your nature and intelligence. So Allah Ta'ala allows polygyny always, since the beginning of time. Allah has allowed polygyny. Allah has allowed, which means it supersedes anybody's emotions, anybody's feelings, anybody's intellect. Allah allowed it, okay? Allah Ta'ala has never allowed polyandry, or a woman having more than one partners at the same time. Never has that been allowed by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, okay? And very few societies actually practice that, you know. I know about one or two. I'm not a history buff, but it is practiced even today. Those are called trains. Those are not marriages. Those are called trains. One man is married, maybe the first one. The rest, he's a cuck. If anybody else joins after that, this is just the facts, you know. So every woman that says, "What about a man's body count?" has deficient aqidah, because by the law of Allah Ta'ala, you are speaking kufr. You're speaking kufr, because we're not talking about street dudes. We're talking about, when I say Allah Ta'ala in the aqidah, we're talking about Islam. So no Muslim woman should say, "What about a man's body count?" You know, I had 3 wives twice. Okay, so that takes me to 6, right? Automatically, and that's at one time. So again, I had two, but I had 3 wives twice. So again, when someone says, "Well, what is your body count?" That I have a phallus. You know, you have an orifice. You incubate DNA. I do not. I take a shower. You know, and that's just the way life is. You know, you are more susceptible to STDs more than I am with the phallus, because you have an orifice. They call it the wound that never heals. You know, an open wound is likely to get infected. You know, more than a topical, you know, bacteria or something like that. So nevertheless, this polyandry never been accepted by Allah Ta'ala, and we're talking about from Islamic standard. We're not talking about loose relations. And even if we go to loose relations, people that club hop and live the nightlife, and as they say in the UK curb crawl, you know, I don't know if they call it whipping here, or I don't know what they call it when you cruise. They call it cruising. When you cruise around looking for women, right? Dudes that do that, dudes that curb crawl, which is a UK form of cruising. We're not talking about them, but even if we do deal with them, women tend to be more attracted. Street women tend to be more attracted to those type street dudes, because they have a value where women desire them. Women don't want a man that other women don't desire. Deep down inside, they don't. And men don't want a woman who other men desire. Yes, we want her to be attractive, but we don't want other men desiring her, as in she puts herself out. You know, you're on Facebook. You've seen married women post pics, and I don't mean modest pics in the garden. You know, I'm talking about they post like, "Let's make some juice." Those type pics. I'm ready to make the juice. That's the type pics they post. And they post pics, and when men say, "Oh, mashallah, you're so beautiful," they go like, heart, heart, care, care, care. That's exactly what they do. So you can't tell me that's not thirst trapping. Those are bodies, and we'll discuss why they are bodies in a minute. But so far, what do you have on it, inshallah?
Understanding that we are in fact different from the women, and while we both have to be chaste, the men and the women, and I don't for one second excuse men from needing to be chaste, we do have to accept that sexually speaking we work differently. That for the women, too many bodies does something to her, and as you and I both stated now, too much attention from too many dudes does something to her, even before the bodies. For guys, it's quite the opposite in that we can mess ourselves up when we're fornicating. We can do something to our heads and mess with our own minds because we're committing fornication. But it's not so much the number of ladies that causes us the trouble, it's the number of times we've been disobedient that would cause us the problem. Like as it is with other sins. But actually, inexperience to a man can mess him up, can damage him, or it can leave something in him atrophy. And women know this. Subconsciously, women know this, and that's why Western women always like to point at a guy and say, "Well, that's why you don't get none." They love to do this to regular, normal men, because they know that for him to be inexperienced either causes an atrophy, he lives, and so he just gets used to living alone, or and that's in a better case scenario, or it'll mess around and do something to him that's negative, like it could cause health problems, because he's never with a lady. And so, just like fornication opens somebody up to STDs in women, and as you stated, women really catch it. Then, just like that, also there are health issues that can come about when men or women are celibate. And men, everybody knows about this. Now, they may not know about it for women, and it doesn't do as much damage to them. But for men, it can cause other issues. It can cause prostate disorders. It can cause hormonal imbalances that cause mood swings. It can cause a depressed or an increased heart rate for no good reason. Um, so I don't even know what else. I don't think even doctors know everything that it can cause. But that's one of the reasons why Western women love to always threaten and then punish men with celibacy. They know that it's not good for the men. If they didn't know this, they wouldn't say, "That's why you ain't gonna never get none. You ain't gonna never have a girlfriend when you get older, or you ain't gonna never get none again." They wouldn't call the cops on men to have us locked up. They wouldn't try to get us thrown in prison for long stretches at a time because they would think it doesn't really do anything. They consciously or subconsciously they love to threaten these things because they know that there's a harm in that. They're aware of that, and Western women are going to continue using these threats and carrying them out um, until there's no more Western woman or until there's no man to do this to. It's never going to stop until that point because they actually have a lot of this instinctive knowledge, like you said. They're just so far gone and so full of hatred that they can't stop using it as a weapon against men. But yeah, they when they say, "What about a man's body count?" If someone asks the question, then I don't mind answering it. I mean, I know people may really believe this. There was a time I did, but still the fact remains that we have to understand there's a reason that Allah allowed polygyny, and actually that was a norm without being rich as a requirement. But polyandry is never allowed. And here's the other thing: polyandrous societies, some of them still exist, but they vanish. They don't last very long because there's always a point in which the men, when mobility increases in the area, the men begin to move out. So in the Amazon, you got some societies that are like that, but they're decreasing in number because these men, they're sitting up and pretty much saying, "Never mind." So what do? They leave that area and they go into a city where they can marry one, and he's her only husband. In one place in Nepal, I think they've got it. But not only um, are the men usually related to each other.
Yeah.
That's one thing people fail to realize.
Yep.
These men are related, so the children are related to all of the husbands in most cases. That's one thing that disincentivizes abandonment. If the child is not your child, at least he or she is your niece or nephew at the very least. So you're still related, and you're sharing with your brothers. But even then, in this situation, these men, they get up and they bounce and they walk off the mountain and go down at a lower elevation into one of the cities and live there, so that when they do marry, he's her only. So men are actually opting in these polyandrous situations to risk being alone for the rest of their lives, to risk that unnatural celibacy over sharing with another man,
A woman once told
even
me.
their own brothers.
A woman once told me she was trying to. They like to ignite the worst parts of you. When they're angry, they want the world angry, and when they're upset, they want the world upset. You know, so she told me that, hey, you know, uh, I'll talk to your brother. And my brother Joseph, he's 10 years older than I am. I'll talk to your brother. I said, oh, hold on one second. I called him. I said, hey man, you want this? You know what I'm saying? Just like that.
Mm.
Unshakable. Mateen, you know, unshakable. And I'm like, man, you want this, man? He say, what you talking about, little bro? I say, man, look, she says she gonna mess with you, you know? She says she gonna mess with you when we break up. I say, so, you want her? I said, I can drop her off. He said, nah, little bro, we don't get down like that. I said, I understand, man. I say, but she is what she is. Couldn't pair a bond.
Nope.
Couldn't pair a bond at all.
No, cannot.
But what I want to mention was that this polyandry thing, in our base nature as human beings, we would actually, sharing a woman just it's of course it's way outside of nature. It doesn't even fit in basic, like say again, basic math. It doesn't fit, right? But yet and still, like you saying, them being related to each other, it kind of keeps, how you say, infanticide, of killing of the youth, because in animal kingdom, when a lion takes over, he kills all the male cubs, he saves the female cubs.
He'll kill all the cubs, period.
Oh, he kills them all,
No, they
period.
kill the female cubs too. He
Okay,
kills
okay.
cubs,
I didn't know
period.
about that one. I thought he saved those for mating. I knew about Kaiser Souza. Yeah, she said it. She said she'll women will look, bro. Radiallahu anha, our beloved mother Aisha, radiallahu anha, told the Rasul Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you're not the prophet anymore. This is Sahih. She told him, you are not the
Oh,
prophet anymore. She was here and she wanted to take him there. He didn't go there with her. He stayed calm. Okay. She told the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam on another occasion, she said, I've never got anything good from you. And Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, as long as you do good by women, they'll be pleased with you. But once you do one thing bad, they'll say, I never got anything good from you. Even our mother Aisha radiallahu anha, who we love, the most beloved woman, of the most beloved women to us. Okay. She said that to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam because she was trying to spark him. She was trying to spark him. And women will do that. The woman I'm talking about is like 10 trillion times lesser than Aisha, radiallahu anha. 10 trillion times and a gazillion, a bazillion times, lesser than Aisha, radiallahu anha. And she said, I'll mess with your brother. And I'm like, oh, you don't understand. You don't understand. I love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which means that I have a I have a deficiency in pair bonding with people like you. I can't pair bond with people that don't love Allah ta'ala, that say stuff like that. Because remember the aqidah from Uqad, the knot that ties hearts. The knot that can never be unraveled, and it ties hearts. So my heart was not tied to her because she didn't love Allah Ta'ala. She didn't love Allah Ta'ala, so I couldn't pair bond with her as a believer. I could marry her, give her her rights, not oppress her, not abuse her, all of that. But I couldn't pair bond with her because she didn't love Allah Ta'ala. So she thought that she could spark something in me by saying, I'll go be with your brother. I said, oh, wait 1 second. Oh, man, my brother know me. I called him. I said, hey, man, you want to come get her? I'll drop her off. I'll save you some gas. He said, oh, no, man, we don't, we family. We don't do that. I said, yeah, but you might want to tell her on speakerphone, you know, because she thought she had something, you know. That's what I'm talking about.
And
So,
she,
nevertheless, I'm a move on real quick and mention, unless you got something to say on that one.
well, she took for granted that she even could just jump from you to your brother, and that neither of you would have any resistance to say no to her or to any other women. And that's where it is that we're paying the cost for guys that came before us that were just too easy and just never said no. We're paying that cost or we're seeing the results of that when these women make assumptions like that, because they just had so easy a time with men before. It's like I mentioned, they don't lose the ability to pair bond just because of the bodies. One is the bodies, but secondly, it's the ease with which they got these high body counts. And that's where it is that we men have to look at chastity as not something that we see chastity as being exclusively feminine. We have to look at chastity as something that actually benefits guys, masculine men, saying no. And we have to see it that way. But that's another topic, probably for another
Yeah.
day, but still related to this one.
Yeah, us being visual creatures, man, chastity is a hard one, you know? Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah, brother Jawad. Chastity is a hard one. Um, uh, I suggest something besides chastity. I suggest the astronaut marriage. You remember I mentioned that the astronaut marriage.
No, no, I don't remember that.
Okay, okay. See, in space, you don't take up space in space. Space is just space. There's no up or down, right? Okay, so in space, you give her her space, let her do her astronaut walk, and you do your astronaut walk. And every time you all need, you float together. You get what I'm saying? Every time there's a need, you all float together. That means separate households, all of that, and you come together for a common purpose. Which means that you don't have the headache of putting her out. You don't have the headache of her trying to squat. When you want her out, and things like that. And she also has her space to be as masculine as she want to be. You know, to be unpair bonding a bowl. As she wants to be. So again, that's why I call it an astronaut marriage. You're floating in your space. She's floating in her space. And if it works out for a period of time that way, then you all could descend or float down to earth and live together. But I even suggest that with newly married couples, to get to Islamically, you don't have anything besides maybe a sit down, which is not Islamic, but it's not un-Islamic at the same time. It's just what you call it uslub, or a style of sitting down and negotiating. It's a style. The problem is that it becomes a foodie call. The sit down becomes a foodie call where she can get a free meal. Or even sometimes, to be fair, with the men, the women will cook, and he's trying to see if she can cook. So it's not even equal to a free meal if I think about it. He's testing her wifelyhood, basically, her wifeability, basically. He's testing it with the presence of the wali. Man, she can cook. I remember I had just married this sister out of Connecticut, I think it was. She was out of Connecticut. Her mother begged me. I already had 2 wives. Her mother begged me to marry her. Man, my daughter needs you. She needs somebody on the dean, can teach her that. I gave in, man. I gave in. I tried to find her another brother. Nobody wanted to marry her. She didn't want to marry other people. So I married her and took as a third wife. And she and I took as a wife before she even cooked for me. But man, they had slaughtered some lamb for Eid. And her mom said, I'm going to cook it. She said, no, I got it, mama. Man, she cooked that lamb. I think about that lamb today, man. Allah is my witness. I think about that lamb today. I'm telling you, bro. So that is a strategy sisters might want to adopt if they can cook these days. Is to, have your wali invite him over, you know what I'm saying? And prepare a meal for him. Let him know, put your resume out there. But, that's misogynistic. Isn't that misogynistic for me to say that? That's kind of narcissist for me to say that. Yeah,
Well, it's
I
only
shouldn't say that.
misogynistic.
Yeah, I shouldn't
It's
say
only
that.
misogynistic where you live. That's all. It's misogynistic in the wild, wild west. But I mean, come on, you from Texas,
Yeah.
and I've had lamb in Texas, and I've had goat. And if you, being a Texan, still think about that lamb today, then she was able to. That means she had skill. She
Oh
knew
yeah.
what she was doing.
Yeah.
Because you know the lamb and the goat that I've had, I've actually gone to Llano, Texas before with my dad and my brother years ago, over a decade ago on a trip, and I still think about that goat, that cabrito that they had.
Yeah.
So she had something. She knew what she was doing, at least when it came to that. But I meant to ask you, you were able to see Jawad's comment, but it's not on YouTube. So what service are these other comments on, like Kaiser Sose and
Uh.
Jawad?
uh
Where are they?
okay. Uh. They're coming from YouTube. You can see their comments, right?
No, I cannot. No,
Oh, you can't see their comment.
something's
But
wrong.
can you see it on the
No,
screen
no,
at all?
it's
Not on the screen even.
hold on. Let me switch to that window. Let me switch to that tab and see if
Okay.
I can.
Because I'm putting
Um,
them on the screen as they
let's see.
comment. Because Jawad said, "Can I moonwalk away from her?"
Uh,
You hear that, bruh?
I know.
Jawad said, "Can I moonwalk away from her?"
Okay, I didn't. I
Subhanallah.
can't see none of.
Okay, okay. Well, it's
That's
on you.
funny.
They're they're
I
they're
just
they're
can't
on
see it, no
YouTube.
matter how many times.
They're on YouTube right now.
Okay. Okay, something's going on with YouTube. Then I think I'm just gonna smash this tablet because I've about had enough of it. Because
Subhanallah.
I no matter how many times I refresh it, I get the screen that says waiting for Amu Yum Yum, but it just never starts to actually. It doesn't show the comments except what I typed, um, and that's it. Nothing else.
Something
So
strange happened on
I
mine.
probably.
Something strange happened on mine. I put out the reminder right from Restream,
Hmm.
and then when I went to click the title to put the title over the actual show on Ecamm Live, it wouldn't give it to me. So I had to go back to Restream and set a time of 9:03. That's why I put 9:03 on the new reminder. I put 9:03 so I could actually see the title so I can click on it. Because it wouldn't let me click on the title. Because then I have to go into in post and then go to YouTube and Facebook and so on and so forth and type the title in because it'll be just dot 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 dot,
Okay,
or the
got you.
wrong title
Okay, I
even.
see it.
So nevertheless, Jawad said, "Can I moonwalk away from her?" Yeah, in an astronaut marriage, you can actually moonwalk away. Yeah, that's the Michael Jackson he type move right there. Uh,
And
Kaiser
it's gonna be
Souza
more
says,
necessary.
"LOL, ain't no woman gonna do that investment, the meal for a suitor." There. Hey, look, like the brother said, not here maybe, but I'm gonna tell you, I went to Morocco. I went to Morocco to shop around, bro. Man, the first family wouldn't let me go. They would not let me. I could not go anywhere. And if I tried to go somewhere myself, they're like, "Where you going? Where you going?" And they want me to go nowhere.
Where you going to?
Oh yeah, they wanted me to marry their
Nowhere.
daughter. They didn't want me to go nowhere. SubhanAllah. Kaiser Souza says, "Forget the woman. The
And
parents would never let it get to that point. My daughter ain't no maid." Yeah, but you guess what? My daughter's gonna have to cook. I mean, they're gonna cook or they're gonna do whatever. If that brother got Dean, if he got Dean and he can maintain a household, as I say, bare minimum, at least, okay? If he can do bare minimum, which means she gets her rights. I don't understand. One brother come off in there. He been on a podcast before. Well, he ain't been on it, but he come in the chats. He came in there and say, "Brother, I've looked," because he taught himself Arabic. He said, "I looked in the Arabic. I don't see bare minimum in Quran or Hadith." And I started to get really smart. I started to get really sarcastic, bro. Brother, who goes to Arabic to look for bare minimum? I already defined bare minimum. Bare minimum means she gets her basic rights. She gets a safe shelter. She gets ample clothes to hide her shame. And she gets healthy food and drink. The Rasulullah say anything above that is what? A sadaqah. They couldn't understand what bare. I looked in the Arabic. I ain't see bare minimum. I'm like, oh, I said, man, if I was a cursor, I would have cursed. You looked in the hadith for bare minimum.
I'm I might
SubhanAllah.
go ahead and curse anyway because See, when once you're, what they love to do is they love to take anything that you say that actually explains what's in Quran or
Yeah.
authenticated Hadith. They love to take it and then say, well, that word is not there. And I'll give an example. I've seen people do this a lot of times. When it comes down to, for instance, tasawwuf, um, now tasawwuf has something to do with wool, but
Yeah.
there actually
The
is
course.
there's a word in the Quran. I think it's called zuhud or
Zuhud.
zahid.
Yeah.
Zuhud is the abstract noun, and zahid is the person that practices it. Now that word is actually there in the Quran, but somebody took they took the idea and they went a bit. They I guess you could say they excelled in the idea, which is fine. But then they turned around and called it tasawwuf, as if there wasn't already a word for it.
Yeah.
So they became extreme, starting with the nomenclature, because simply when they took an extant idea for which there was a name in the Quran, and they went even further, or they excelled at it, they started to go crazy when they gave it another name. Another thing is that, for instance, we have isnad, and when you have isnad, you don't necessarily have to come up with another term such as salafiyah. So if you now the granted the term, I mean the idea, the word, the meaning of the word salafiyah is guiding. It is one of the major guiding principles in Islam.
Yeah.
That you don't just follow what you want to, you follow what's already there.
Yeah.
But they turned around, starting with nomenclature, and they made it something else. So that's where a lot of them went wrong. And I'm sorry, you were making another point, and I got sidetracked by that.
I want to say real
But
quick,
yeah, let me say
Kaiser
that.
Souza. I just posted that. I talked to both my teen sons today. We have Sundays are our study day. Because they're with me every weekend. You know what I'm saying? So Sundays are our study day, and sometimes Saturdays if our Sundays are busy. But I told them about the passport. I say if you ever get the inkling, because one is 18, one is 14. I say if you ever get the inkling that you desire a woman. I talked about why would you marry, right? We went over that, and I'm not gonna go over it here, but they mentioned four things why they would marry. So I said that you know, yeah, why they would marry anyway. So I told him, I said, whenever you decide, I said, look, you both of you are star athletes. They both are star athletes. They both are big men on campus. The teacher tend not my 18-year-old. He's pretty cool. He don't get in trouble anymore. When he was younger, talking in class, stuff like that. But my 14-year-old used to. He stopped it this year, but because he's such a good athlete, the teacher will call me every third time he said something back, or every third time he was out of his seat without permission, or in the hallway without permission. You know what I'm saying? Every third time. So he had that athlete privilege stuff, and I don't like that at all. I even told the principal said, man, I fell on the floor and didn't get up when the teacher told him to get up, right away. I said, what sport is he playing now? What are y'all doing? He said, well, we started soccer now. I say, pull him. The principal like, man, we're in the playoffs. The principal said we're in the playoffs. So I know that they'll tell the mom more than they tell me, because they know I'll pull them. You know what I'm saying? And teacher like, man, we in the playoffs. It's kind of like that. So anyway, but nevertheless, I'm saying that because Kaiser Souza said that he's gonna go to Jordan for a month, and his grandma's going ahead of him, to line up some suitors, right? And that's exactly what I told my sons. I said, man, look, I call them ostriches. I say, when you go to college, white women, I say, are marriage minded. They see you walking, you're a star athlete, you got potential to be a maintainer, protector. I said, they're gonna have them ostrich necks looking at you. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna have them ostrich necks, And I say they have hidden agendas. But at the same time, you're gonna get a feminine woman. She's gonna honor you. She's gonna be all about you. She's gonna keep your house right. She's gonna birth your kids, raise your kids, and she ain't gonna try to fight you. I said, not all black women, but a lot of the black women, or will, they might want to sleep with you, But they not really marriage minded because they got to get their degree first. I say what's sad is that the fathers are telling them today, get your degree, don't depend on no man. Fathers are telling their daughters that now.
Oh
Fathers are
yeah,
telling their
yeah.
daughters, don't depend on no man. That's how
Hmm.
feminized we have become. You know, when actually I
Yeah.
want my daughter to depend on their husband to the point that they can't leave over frivolity. They can't leave over frivolity. I'm not having it. You marry my daughter, y'all gonna be together until you can't fix it. And if you can't fix it, that means you done went into some drug, alcohol abuse or use or whatever, or she, Uda Bilal Mendalik. Something happened. But if it's just tit for tat, y'all gonna work it out. She gonna be quiet. If her mouth gets to you, she gonna be quiet. You know, my daughter's not gonna be disgraced jumping from husband to husband unless you die in jihad. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's another topic. But I talked to my sons about the passport. So you can add them to the passport brothers, not the ones that go overseas to have sex, but the ones that go overseas to find somebody that won't fight back, that won't fight them. You know.
Then in that case, then your sons are SYSMB. Now there's first
Okay.
SYSBM, that Save Yourself Black Man, and
Okay.
then there's SYSMB, which is Save Yourself Muslim Brother. One of our brethren out of LA, his name is Base Muslim. He started that. He started SYSMB, but also SYSBM was started by a Muslim and a non-Muslim, and the Muslim brother is out of he's out of Texas and Louisiana.
Okay.
He actually travels back and forth most of the time. He was in Germany. He's been to Morocco as well. He's been looking for somebody that's not going to, I wouldn't say fight back, because I mean he wasn't raised to fight in the first place with women, but looking for someone that's not going to start stuff with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is important. I mean, you got to go and look, especially, and this is the thing, there are dudes in the States that will start stuff with women because they're individuals. They're guys like that anywhere. But those guys that are in the States, they need to stay in the States because they go starting stuff with women. They'll oppress your daughter or mine or our mothers or our aunts or whoever's female and Muslim in our family or non-Muslim. They'll do that. But but most of the guys that are coming up in Canada, the US, the UK, even Anglophone Caribbean islands or Anglophone nations in the Americas, that includes Belize and Guyana, don't walk around just starting conflicts with women because we're raised not to. You're not a man if you do it. That's how we've been taught. So they have to leave to find ladies that are not going to start conflict with them because and you know more than I do, when you are just out there dating as a non-Muslim, and you're the guy that doesn't start stuff, they turn around and start stuff with you. And they may not know why they're doing it, or they may know why they're doing it, but they'll start things. So you have to leave them to find someone that's not going to be the aggressor and pick a fight, so that you can actually defend them. Because if you stay put, you stay in the West, or you stay in the Anglophone Americas, and in the Francophone Americas too. Quiet as it's kept, like Dominique and Guadeloupe, and Martinique, those islands as well. You stay there, and it's the same thing. They're going to wild out on you because they want to make sure that you're really alpha, and they test that by getting you into trouble, starting stuff with you, or setting it up to where you have to fight somebody else unnecessarily. And so they'll try to get you into these situations. So yeah, there's not really anything that you can do right now. As I stated, we men have been too easy before. So now those of us that are coming up at this point, like our sons, they're just gonna have to leave because nothing else is gonna send a message. And I'm not just saying that because I'm bitter. This is something that I heard a sister. I don't mean Muslima, but I heard a sister tell a black man on the panel back in 2020, about April or May of 2020. She said, "We will never change how we behave until you leave." And then she found out that there were already movements to leave. And
Yeah.
this is before Passport Bros and Passport Gang were as publicized as they are now. I mean, at this point, there's merchandise, like there are hoodies and T-shirts that are there, so that when these brothers leave and go to the airports to leave, they can recognize each other. It's already on sale.
Check this out. Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brother Abdul Wali. But check this out. I saw a Filipino advertisement. I don't know if you saw it. Uh, are you having trouble finding the traditional woman that you desire in America? Try the Philippines. You seen that commercial?
I have not seen that commercial.
You'll
No.
see it in between certain YouTube videos. It's an advertisement. They got Christian Filipinos. They got Philippine women, whatever, whatever. I sent my brother a link. I told him, I said, man, look, you got your own house. You successful truck driver, man. You got a nice truck, brand new Lexus every year. I say, man, put somebody in this house, that's gonna smile when you walk in, bro. You know what I'm saying? And he's still dealing with these rats. You know what I mean? But he's Kafir, so let him be an exterminator if he want to. But nevertheless, with that being said, I want to talk about this part of body count. Now, we talked about polygyny versus polyandry, but check this out. Not even in Al Jannah do women have more than one mate. Now, there are male servants. They say that they are forever young servants, called this is the ghulam. The ghulam is singular, right? The ghulam is the male servant that never ages. Okay, it never ages, and the Quran uses that term because remember the mercenary soldiers that were young were called the ghilman, from ghulam, right? The ghilman, the plural. They would call that an older man that had all of his teeth in his older age. They would also call him a ghulam, so on and so forth. So it's a familiar terminology. Allah used the language of the people when He revealed Quran. He didn't reveal a foreign language. The Quran is not in Farsi. It's in Arabic, Fusha, Arabic, pure and clear. So in Al Jannah, the men will have the men will have the hurain. They will have the women of paradise with the kawaib, kawaib with the buxom. They'll have firm breast, and Allah says atraban, of equal age,
Mm-hmm.
So Allah says you'll have them, and they said that these women are so beautiful. If you saw one of them now, you would wet yourself, basically. You would have like a wet dream. You would alleviate yourself just by seeing. That's how beautiful they are. Now I've seen some beautiful women in this Jannah that it hurts. You ever seen a woman so beautiful she hurt you, man? I don't know if you ever seen. I seen one make like a pain in my chest, like
You know what?
I mean
Yeah,
that
about
beautiful.
twice.
Say again.
Yeah, about twice I have. Yeah.
Okay, but they said the women of Al Jannah, what you'll lose your mind, bro, if you saw one of them in this life. So we're not prepared right now. We have to be in the akhirah, la yamutu fiha wa la yahya, where we would neither live nor die. I mean, we would not die. Excuse me, la yamut, we would not die. But and I know Jahannam say la yamutu fiha wa la yahya, that in hell you're not living nor dying. It's not a life nor is it death in hell, but in the akhirah, in the next life, we're not dying in Al Jannah. So we can look at these women and not die, but they'll be so attractive. I've heard even reports that they're almost like translucent. I've heard reports of that. But nevertheless, in Al Jannah, the women will have, and the men will have mates, male servants, young male servants that never age, but these are not for relations for them. But the hurain are for relations with us. And every time we go into them, there'll be a virgin. Every time we enter, a virgin again. What they call it a snapback in this life, they call it the snapback. So again, this is very, very important. That's why I said women that say, what about the man? It's an Aqidah problem. I see it. I mean, I could be wrong, but I see it as an Aqidah problem. And I made my case because Allah allows polygyny, which means it's part of our nature for men, but He did not allow it for women.
Nope, sure didn't. It's not in their nature.
Not in
I
their
mean,
right
it's
nature.
funny. Not yeah, not in the right nature. I was about to say that it's odd because in the West they act like it's in their nature. But and so I mean, if you grew up in the West and then you find out what they're really hiding, then you would start thinking that, oh, okay, so their nature is polyandrous, their nature is to cheat. But I would say this: it is very convenient for them to conceive with one, and then play with one, and then get the other to pay if they can do it. Yeah, is that convenient for them? Absolutely. But you notice that this is not something that it has ever been widespread in a culture until recently. It's been existent. It's been extant. Um, One of the cases in which an infant was allowed to talk, it was a miraculous story, was when there was a monk and he made his mother angry. So she actually made dua that he got punished. And the punishment was that for a while he was blamed for a child of fornication. And the lady that did that, she was selling herself anyway. So she turned around and said it was him that he did that he was the dad. And so they eventually, when he was brought to answer for that, then the infant spoke up and said, actually, the shepherd is my father. So he was alleviated, but he had to go through this stress for a while because of the dua of his mother. Um, but it's just to say that even though this type of thing does exist, this dual mating strategy, which really drives a lot of what we're seeing, and it has existed, it was never a major part of a culture until recently, until maybe 40 years ago, maybe 60, but in pretty much until the States, and then later on Western Europe and Scandinavia. Now, I'm gonna tell you this: my mother told me 20 years ago that she was beginning to notice a change in the conversations of the hair salons. Women have always been talking about men and men about women. That's always been going on. But she, about 1999 and 2000, she began to say, I've been hearing what they've been saying in these hair salons, and it's bad. Now, this is before social media. Internet was new, but social media was not even there as far as we knew.
Yeah.
And she was paying her hairdresser to make appointments with her outside of normal business hours so she wouldn't have to be around those young girls that were talking about these things. And she said the stuff they're talking about is just horrible. Like she said that for the most part, she didn't even go too far in depth. But what she did say is that they're always talking about playing games and using guys that don't deserve it. So the ones that deserve it the least are the ones they're always talking about targeting. It's like they look down on the guys who have good behavior. And so they want to do these things to these men. And then the guys who really, the guys that should have been avoiding are the ones that they want to give their best to. So she said this a long time ago. And she can't remember telling me that now, but she does remember making these appointments and she remembers the conversations. She just doesn't remember what she said about them. But she said these things a while back. And that was when this was new to her. And she's never really been naive about the things that men and women will do if they can get away with it. She never was. Before that, she told me certain things. But afterwards, she said that this was something different, that this was evil, just downright evil. So it's not in their right nature to do this, sure. But what's going on now is that they're being taught these things from such a young age, how to play these games, how to manipulate, including the dual mating strategy. They're being taught these to the point that they, by the time they get to high school, they don't know what their right nature is. They start high school first day thinking that it's in their nature to hit guys in the nuts just because it hurts us, or to do wrong to us just because they think that they have to be that way and that it's unrealistic for them to be any better. And so when these hyenas are going after what they call the pygmies, or who they call the pygmies, they really believe that the pygmies are out of their right nature.
SubhanAllah. Jawad says, do you think it is possible to practice polygyny overseas? Yeah, it's part of some of their laws, you know. It's part of the laws and the fabric of society. I think that they're trying to get away from it because, America, they're promoting a lot of Western, more Western ideas, I should say. So I think they're trying to get away from it. But nevertheless, I think that, I think it still can be practiced there, Definitely can practice it here. You just don't make it anything official. Now, which means that you might have to get somebody that's already here, that already has their citizenship, that hasn't been totally ruined yet, and bring one over officially with papers, paperwork from you, actual marriage certificate or license or whatever, and then but you might have to mix in a Western type woman, man, and that's a hard one, but or you can just you know go overseas, man, because like benefit I had, my Moroccan wife, um, her dad already understood with her his permission and the witnesses of the family, the mom and the older sister being witnesses, equaling one witness, and her brother being of age, teenage age, 17, wherever he was, as a witness. Me and her were married before the paperwork came in. The dowry was already given. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, we were already married, so we were allowed to, uh, have the upper room. The upper room, you know what I'm saying? So we were allowed to have that. Uh, a father understood that basic concept, but in Moroccan society, it's not really Islamic society, So we're not. I shouldn't say really. It's not Islamic society at all. I shouldn't have a qualifier there. Um, but the state will say you're not married until But the state can't regulate. They can regulate nothing else that's going on. The open drug deals. They have less shame than the drug dealers here in America, bro. They actually have like a lunch line of drug sales, But anyway, we'll move on from that. Jawad says, I saw that Filipina commercial pop up after uh, watching an episode of Richie Mack. I have no idea who that is. You know who that is?
Yeah, yeah. Richie Mack, the travel OG. He's a gentleman that lives in Pattaya, and the title of his channel is Zoom to
Oh, he
Thailand.
got that. He got that really good wife. Is that the one?
Uh, yeah, her name is Elle.
Oh,
They
yeah.
pretty
I
much
think that's
live
the
like
one.
husband and wife. Yeah, he said that they're not married because he's not trying to marry, and that
Oh,
she's
okay,
really
okay,
not
okay.
trying to either. What they pretty much have is everything that a marriage takes, but without the involvement of the state. That's what they have.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. All they
but
gotta do is
being
make a
secular,
contract with each other, man. They don't have to. I mean, it can be a verbal contract, understanding. That counts as a marriage with them, with the kuffar. That counts actually as a marriage. And if they have an understanding with each other, just like in Texas, in other states, they have what's called common law. Basically,
Mhm.
if you write on a receipt, Mister and Mrs. Like he ha ha, that's a legal document. If you tell
'cause-
more than two people you're married and they testify in court, you're actually married. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mhm.
and as Muslims, we have to respect those marriages. We have to respect those because that's their way of marrying. We can't hold them by the Islamic standard because nobody will be married. You know what I'm saying? Basically, and we have to respect their marriages. So Jawad said those women will not care for our wealth unless they will fight to be with you. Okay. And then he said Western women have pair bonding and fluid bonding issues. He said fluid bonding. What's fluid bonding? What's that?
Mm, I don't know what that fluid is, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I was thinking, yeah, that I was sorry, I was thinking about Richie Mack, but trying to remember some other stuff to make sure that I gave you the right ideas to who he is.
Okay.
But he
Is he the one
did
post? He
say,
posts about how she cooks for him and how she's she learned
yeah,
she
yeah,
learned she learned to do something because he likes it. Golf.
that's yes, yes,
Okay, that's
it
the
was,
one.
yeah.
She learned. She didn't know how to golf. She learned golfing because he likes it so much. Oh man, ain't that the American? Not the American dream, but ain't that the dream though? That's a
That is the dream. I've been telling brothers, man. I've been saying to brothers, listen, you what you want to do is you want to go to certain places like on the continent. I've recently found that northern Nigeria is good, and I even asked the gentleman there, look, if foreign Muslims were to go there looking to marry with a high chance of the marriage succeeding, how would you all feel? And they said, well, we actually would welcome it because we're actually very outnumbered. And so they're okay with that. And the thing is, I've hung out with them. I've seen their lady relatives, wives, daughters, just the faces. I mean, what normally must appear thereof. That's all you see.
yeah.
But they look every kind of way. a lot of people assume that back on the continent, the women are not good looking. A lot of us even make that assumption, who have origins back there. But in
Like, come on,
actuality,
in
they have every
Africa?
kind.
In Africa?
Yeah,
Man, boy,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
some them women
Even a lot of African Americans assume that they
man,
just don't have any.
them women physically, I mean, bruh.
Well, I mean, I know
The
I've been
the the
hanging
the
out with
the,
the
the,
dudes, and
the, the
sometimes
surgeon, doctor, whatever that dude name is, that does the surgeries, that Beverly Hills doctor, he gets his standard by probably looking over there. You know what I'm saying? Of what beauty is. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
I mean, come on,
yeah,
man,
yeah.
bro. Shh,
Yeah,
give
they
me a
got
break.
knockouts. Of course,
Man.
they and I've seen footage of I've just seen footage of, and I'm talking about just northern Nigeria without even going too far in other areas.
Yeah.
I've seen footage of it, and they have every phenotype, every look. So you got, well, really what you have is you got this wide range because the DNA is just
Yeah.
so varied.
Yeah.
And so you got the best and the worst looking and everything in between.
Yeah.
But I think some people get shocked when they finally see someone ugly. I think they just get overwhelmed by that and they don't remember anything else. But I'm just
But that's
saying to
the thing
say,
about it. See, but you won't be deceived like you will here. You know, you're
yep,
not gonna, get married and salam alaikum, go to the hotel, and an eggplant pops out. You know,
exactly,
or you
exactly.
wake up in the morning and her face is on the pillow. You know, and she rolls over,
Mhm.
a whole nother look like a whole nother dude next to you. You know, I
Yes,
mean, the next thing you
exactly.
say is "Assalamu alaikum." You know what I'm saying? 'Cause it look like a whole dude laying next to you because they left all their makeup on the pillow. So you're not gonna have that
Yeah.
deception. So you get what you get. I appreciate
Yep.
that.
Exactly.
I
That's
told you
what,
I married
and
somebody look like Kevin Hart in the face.
you did say that. I'm never going to forget that you said that. That cracked me up to no end. But that's the thing. I mean,
So
it's
I'm
very true.
fair. I'm fair, man. I'll marry Kevin Hart face.
Well, you were, but you better not do that no more. I'm sorry, man. You get ready to do that again, and I'm there. Honestly, if I have to, I will fake it or counterfeit another nation's passport and get you the
Subhanallah.
f out of the states.
Man,
If you talking about something you about to do that, you better not pay no dowry either. Uh, no, I'll say, listen, here's some money. I hand you a bunch of counterfeit, and I'll say, pay her this to go away. How about that?
you know I got the
You're gonna
option.
have
I
to pay.
got the option to move overseas, man. You know, I got the
I would
option.
say
I got the
I would say,
option.
depending on where that option is, then go ahead and take it. I
Yeah.
would say so. Now, I wouldn't say come here, not here. It
Oh
ain't
no
for
no no
everybody.
no no man.
You would disappear over here.
Oh yeah.
They would.
Not
They'll
from
pick
what
you
I'll
up.
do once I get there, but what I already have.
I
Because
know.
when I went to Morocco, man, the mukhabarat, the Secret Service, you
Hmm.
know, mukhabarat, another way of saying snitch. You know, they actually, they interrogated me for lack of a better word. I got interrogated in London, turned around, sent back to Chicago. Had to buy another ticket, lost my money. Had to buy another ticket to get to Morocco. Okay, again, so I don't go through London anymore. I go through France, Italy. I don't go through London anymore. Forget them. Uh,
You're lucky. Well, you're lucky you didn't catch it in France then,
they
because
interrogated me for 6 hours in London, bro, and then turned me back around. So it's on my passport. My passport is stained already. I got rejected. So but I went
rejected
got
by Morocco or by
no by
UK.
London. London wouldn't let
Okay.
me into the airport.
Oh, I
I
see. They wouldn't
landed,
even
went
let you
straight
go
into
in transit.
interrogation for 6 hours.
So they wouldn't even let you go into transit.
Not at all. Off the
Okay.
plane, right into interrogation.
Okay.
So
So you on the
I'm so
same?
in Saudi, I would not get in trouble for something I'll say when I get there, but they probably jack me up off the plane, and I'm nobody. Well, when it comes to the grand scheme of things, So, but
Yeah.
nevertheless, with that being
If you have a
said,
choice,
Morocco jacked me up. The Moroccan mukhabarat, the local, in Fez jacked me up a few times. You know what I'm saying? Went in, answered all the questions. Why you here? This, and that. Same question they asked me at the airport to get in. So they asked me why am I here? All this kind of stuff. They sat on it for a couple of days. Next thing you know, knocking on the door. Got head back to the police station. Asked me the same questions, and again, man, my Moroccan hosts were getting frustrated with them. You know, voices got raised and all that kind of stuff. So like I said, man, I got an option which I may explore. I told you I want to start like a little youth thing, maybe like flag football over there or something like that, you know. But nevertheless, with the internet, the world is a village. But Souza said, Kazar Souza says, he quoted the Quran translation. It says, "And do not crave what Allah has given some of you over others." He said, "Women want to be men so bad. This is a recent. There is a recent woman. Yeah, remember that bulldogger that pretended to be a dude? She killed herself. She never knew how hard us men have it. She ended up deleting herself because she couldn't take it. You heard about that, right?
You're talking about Nora Vincent. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
took herself out in Switzerland, I believe. I mean, yeah, in Switzerland, I believe.
Yeah. 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 She put. How did she do it? I'm interested.
All I read was that it was a assisted suicide,
Yeah.
that she
Yeah. Yeah. It was
somebody helped
assisted.
her out.
It was
So
assisted.
it
I,
may
I,
have
wish I
been one
wish
of
I
those pods.
I wish I could have helped her. 'Cause I'm a
Um,
real helpful person. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Noah
You,
Vincent.
I
Yeah.
don't, you would have probably given a da'wah or something, and she would have said, "Oh wow, I didn't know all of this," and it might have changed the outcome, and then she would have had to pass away some other way because her time was up. That's probably what would have. That's probably the help you would have wound up giving.
You know what?
Um,
My niece called me. I think I said it before. My niece called me from the hospital. She said, "Hey, uncle." I said, "What's wrong with you?" "Oh, I'm in the hospital." I said, "What happened?" "I tried to commit suicide." I said, "Girl, next time you want to kill yourself," I say, "call me." I said, "I'm gonna show you how to do it for real." That's what I
but
told
the
her. You
thing
know
is,
why? It's a cry for help. She did it to get attention. I don't know if it was a dude or whatever. She was trying to get somebody's attention. I say, "Look, I'll show you how to do it for real." You know, I know something about the law of nature. You know, uh, pills may not do it. A shotgun under here may not do it, but there are ways to do it. And she like,
guaranteed, huh?
"I can't believe you said that." She ain't never tried it again after that day.
And
She
she
ain't. That
better
was her
believe
last. I think she did it multiple times. That was her last time trying.
it. Better be. It better
Yeah,
be,
yeah,
because
cause she know. After her father passed, and after her father, I'm the closest thing to her. I'm like a father to my niece, right? And the
yeah,
thing about it, if I say something like that, she know that. Look, I'm your last hope. I'm your last float in the ocean. So don't play with me. Don't be trying to kill yourself to get my attention. You know, cause I'll show you how to do it for real. I don't play that. Love my niece too. But
it'd be
but
better if she
nevertheless,
if it'd be better if she just ask you for help, right?
exactly. Whatever you're going through, call me with that. Don't call me with I'm in the hospital. I tried to delete myself. I said, "Oh, you such a failure."
Mm.
But anyway, uh, okay, you said the King of Morocco was a punk for caving in. Man, he was a punk before that. It's the
Yeah.
same with the land of Tawheed, so called. Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brother Mujahid Rahman. I like that name too. Land of Tawheed celebrating Halloween. Did you see any of that? Did you witness any of that?
Um, where I live, nobody did that. We had to find out about it after the fact when we were scrolling through Facebook. Just my girlfriend and I. Don't worry, she's my wife too.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
she and I just scrolling through Facebook. She saw it and showed it to me. But the thing was that a lot of people actually didn't even seem to fully understand what it was. Um, a lot of people seemed somewhat taken aback by whatever taken aback by what it was. They seemed to think that it was some sort of zombie, like it was some sort of zombie movie event or premiere. That's the way that people were acting. To
yeah,
be honest with you, just to be fair, that's how they were looking. Um, and that part of the reason I say that was because in Halloween in the States, you see people dressed up even as Wonder Woman and Superman and characters that aren't used to symbolize evil. Even if we don't agree with them as
yeah,
Muslims, they're not taken as an evil intent.
yeah,
There, everything was scary. It was all monsters,
yeah,
demons, something scary. So it seemed like they were just celebrating some kind of horror movie release. That's what it really looked like. But I'm not in Riyadh, and I didn't manage to find, yeah, there was a whole lot that I didn't manage to find out. So to be honest, I don't really know what they thought at the time they were doing it. But yeah, we did hear about it. And I'm going to be honest, man. I have told some of these folks here before about this stuff. I had to tell them, listen, if you celebrate Halloween, not only is that shirk, and that's bad enough,
Yeah.
but pretty much it means that you're worshiping white folks.
Yeah.
You're not just taking a religious holiday from Ireland, you're actually worshiping white folks, and I'll tell you why. You've never imitated any disbelievers from Africa. You've never done that. You've never, no religious festivals that they have in Africa have you taken from them. But when Europeans do it, you follow them. And let's just be honest, you don't smoke because you saw an African smoking on TV. You don't drink because
Yeah.
you saw an African drinking on TV. You do it because you saw white folks doing it on TV.
They
Let's
saw
just be
James
honest.
Bond. James Bond.
Uh,
You know.
they saw James Bond. They saw what was the other one? A Night in Casablanca with Humphrey Bogart. That's how their grandparents got on this stuff. And
Yeah.
then they've been seeing some of these '80s and '90s movies since then. But
Yeah.
I won't front though. There are certain things I better not say legally for because I'm actually in Saudi now. But there, and chances are, even if you came here, you probably would just be sent away. Probably just be put on a plane and sent back.
Yeah.
Um, but I would say though that in Morocco, yeah, it is bad. It is terrible in Morocco. They are not playing around. That king in Morocco, he capitulated to the States and to France. When I went there the last time, he had banned the sale of the niqab. You couldn't buy or sell a niqab. You had to sew it yourself, or you could give it as a gift. That's the only way you could have a niqab.
Well,
And my
you
wife
know,
at that
you
time,
got to gradually, when you want to attack Islam, you got to attack it gradually. Even Mustafa Kemal Turk, who was one of the Jews, you know, uh,
mhm,
he uh, he gradually attacked Islam. He didn't just wholesale. He didn't say no adhan. He say just do it in Turkish. Of course, the
mhm,
muezzin, they rebelled and fought and barricaded themselves inside of the minaret. Stuff like that.
yeah,
So they were soldiers, alhamdulillah. But nevertheless, he didn't just do it wholesale. He gradually picked and chipped, to make his idol, which is called kufr, that rules Turkey today. So again, like I said, it's going to be gradual. It's not so him saying that you can't sell it, you can't buy it, you have to make your own. Okay, him saying that is just pretty soon it's going to be can't wear it. But he's trying to get people acclimated. Drop of water
he may
technique,
have
Chinese
already
torture.
he may have already gotten it to that point because that was back in 2017, the
Okay.
first few weeks of 2017 that I saw this happen, and I don't know what's happened since then because my wife's 10 days after I left. Let me see. That was no. It was 9 days after I left the kingdom that kingdom that last time. She called and asked for. She sent me a message and asked for a divorce. And I thought that it was based on the argument that we'd had about race, but later she told me that it was actually because some police officers were bothering some of her relatives. Her address was in a neighborhood where like the neighborhood was all one address.
Okay.
So her family members lived at actual individual addresses, and so they were being stopped. Cops would stop them and ask them sometimes, "Listen, where is she? And is it true that she's been fornicating?" Stuff like that. When in fact they just didn't want to recognize the marriage because of ta'adud, because I was still legally married in the States. Now in Morocco, that was legal. At the time I was trying to marry her, that was legal. I was in the process of divorce, but marrying ta'adud in Morocco was legal at that time. And the embassies and consulates abroad had told me what was necessary to do to do this legally. So I went over there with everything that I was supposed to have legally to do this. And then we went to the courthouse and they played the runaround. And they did that to us 3 times. So then after that, they started going to her relatives and asking, where is she? And is it true she's been fornicating? And they were like, what are you talking about?
Mm.
She's very serious, very religious. No, she doesn't do that. And so that was why she asked for it. So she wasn't asking for it out of anger based on the argument we'd had. She admitted, no, you actually right in those points that you made, but they were after relatives. So I can't fake a divorce. So when they
Yeah.
knew that I divorced you Islamically, then that would tell the cops that, as far as the cops were concerned, everything was over, and
Yeah.
they just left them alone. But that's how they did it. So this king, who doesn't know that I exist and doesn't know about her. He has people whose mission, whose goal it is to merely make Islam as difficult as possible and make secularism and disbelief and kufr easy. That's their job. And some lawyers actually did tell us that one time. The last time we tried to go to the courthouse to get them to recognize the marriage, one of the lawyers told us, listen, they're never going to do it. And other lawyers are capitalizing on that. And they say, well, you pay me this, and I'm going to go and speak to the judge on your behalf. And they never find the judge
Yeah, yeah.
because the judge only exists on paper. It's not even a real person.
So,
They have a judge for Ta'adu, and he doesn't exist.
Kazar Souza says, as someone who married abroad, what a couple of pointers to keep in mind. They keep saying expect to cough up a lot of money for mahar and venues, so on and so forth. Uh, I don't overseas. I wouldn't marry a well-to-do woman, one that have European values and stuff like that. Uh, like I say, the family has to be, for me, they have to be close to the dean. You know what I'm saying? So not Europeanized. If they don't cover, they're not going to cover. If they cover for you, that's worse than not covering at all, because they have to cover for Allah Ta'ala, so on and so forth. So uh, it doesn't have to be a lot of money. The problem with sometimes Africa, the parents want a gift, so you got to give the parents a dowry and the woman a dowry. You got to get the parents a dowry to even be able to give the woman a dowry. And they got Africans that are actually here that did brothers I know like that. They had to come up with so much money, like $5,000 to give to the parents before they can give $10,000 to the to the girl. And guess what happened? She left. She wanted a divorce. This is not working. Making up every excuse and complaining about everything because she was already here. She was already here. He didn't, help her immigrate here. She was already here, and she found her one. You know what I'm saying? So that didn't work out too well, and I was really surprised her being African didn't have any values to keep the family together. You know what I'm saying? But uh, you don't necessarily have to spend a lot of money for a mahar, but you have to make that a standard that you're not going to do all of that. That you're not into extravagance, and the people that are going to be the most extravagant and demand the most from you are those westernized, Europeanized Muslims overseas that look up to the West. They're going to want this puff daddy type wedding and stuff like that, and it's really going to cost you. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, hey, renting the dress, her having the walima, having fun, all of that is part of the process. Providing food, all that's part of the process. But when it comes to mahar, you don't have to pay a ridiculous one. Now, if you're getting a virgin, maybe well worth it. If she's come from a good family, maybe well worth it. But you have to go within your budget, bro. I'm saying, to make sure the money goes to her, that she has an account, put the money in her account, make sure it's for her. Now, how she spends it, that's not on you. Although as a man you can regulate that, but if she gives it to her family, that's not on you. You fulfilled the dowry. That's just something. That's an advice that I have. May not be the best advice, but it comes from real life experience. Uh,
And
Nevertheless,
that advice,
yeah,
it is sincere, and that is actually a good way to do it. It's generally good to deal with families that are educated either in something secular or religious, or a family that's like a mix of all of them. Um, and it does depend on what region. I want Kaiser Soze to remember that it depends on which region you're in as well. Um, and then also the westernization level of that particular family. So it's
yeah,
going to vary from place to place. But the other thing that's important for people to understand, don't bring her to the States or Canada or the UK. Don't do that. That is not the way to go, because that's one of the ways that you test them. You tell them, I ain't going back. I'm not living back there. Now, because there are going to be plenty of women that really don't want to live in the U.S. They may want to visit, but they don't want to live there. And one of the reasons why my ex in Morocco passed the test, matter of fact, the only reason that her nephew-in-law, who was my friend, introduced us to each other was because she did not want to live stateside. She was afraid to even visit a place like that. Mind you, she's a Monakaba, but she was like, I don't know. I mean, it looks like the nature's beautiful, but you can get that in many places. but I'm not messing around and going over there and have them interrogate me because I'm wearing the niqab. And so that really was one of the things that helped out a lot. She was not trying to migrate to France, let alone to the United States. And that's one of the reasons why Richie Mack said he's so happy. Elle is not trying to go live in the U.S. She's happy living in Thailand with him the way that a wife would live with her husband. Let's see who else. Uh, there is, yeah, one of the founders of SYSBM, the Muslim brother, was originally going to live abroad and marry, I think, in Northern Africa, and he was not going to take her back to the States. Then who else? So it's been several guys that have pretty much understood. Base Muslim that started SYSMB, Save Yourself Muslim Brother, is planning on leaving and living abroad with a wife from abroad, not taking them back to the States. And he said that in Eastern Europe, the practicing Muslims of Eastern Europe, like Kazakhstan and these Slavic-speaking Stan nations, they are, he said that many of them don't want to go unless maybe it's to visit and see, but they don't want to go and live there. And that's one of his criteria.
Okay. Did your mic go out?
Mine? No.
Oh, okay. I heard a click. Oh, anyway. So, Jawad said, do you think the sisters here are just going to stay single? They seem to realize how to be feminine when they hit the wall. But me and the brother discussed about gender roles, and stuff like that. It's acting, So if femininity is not in them, they don't have it. Their nature is corrupted. So they'll fake femininity to get what they want. They realize the way they've been doing it this whole time doesn't work. So you're still going to get that outburst. You're going to get that masculine energy. They might grow a few hairs on the middle of their chest, but you're going to have to deal with that as they learn to be feminine again. They lost the trait. Not all of them. Anytime we say they, it doesn't mean all. It means all when we say all. This is for men that have huge nipples and produce titty milk, and also for women. They think when you say they or you say modern woman, they think you're talking about every woman today. We're not. When we say all, we mean all. Todo in Spanish, kulli, in Arabic. If we say all, that means all. But right now, we're not talking about all. We're talking about a majority. So just to move on real quick, because I want to get to that delusional dating profile. But the abundance mindset. Now, we hear about this a lot. But I want to just mention that for the men, our abundance mindset has to be, if we done the self-work, okay, the education, whether that's vocational or whatever we needed to become a more desired individual. I'm going to use high value, a more desired individual, the individual that women want. Now, you can't do anything about your height. You can't do anything about your looks. But if you can provide / protect, women will gravitate towards you because they're looking for provision and protection. Okay, as long as she's not booking fights, as long as she's not a brother, a sister of the shaitan, which Allah says the wasters are brothers of the shayatin. So she's not a waster. She doesn't spend your money frivolously, your wealth, and she doesn't book fights for you. So she allows you to protect her. Okay, she allows you to protect her. Puts herself in protective situations. Okay, so that's a good one. You've done the self work, so you made yourself desirable to women, plural. It can be 2, 3, 4, but you made yourself desirable to women. You've done the work, so now you can have the abundance mindset. You ain't got to put up with one. You ain't got to put up with that madness. Nor do you got to settle. Okay. Also, women are turning 18 every day. They're turning 18 every day, and I use 18 in quotation marks. We know Islamic standard, that's 18 is not a standard. I'm using it in quotation marks just to let you know that women are maturing and becoming eligible for marriage every single day. So don't think that you got to put up with an unnatural human of 2 men together. That's unnatural. Even when they get together, somebody dominates. Even when 2 women get together as bull daggers, somebody dominates. Because it's just the law of nature. They're out of their nature to the point they can become very good bull daggers, but you can't. And they'll be. You notice they feminine for the bull dagger. You notice that You got two of them together, right? One is a butch, one is a lipstick lesbian, and that lipstick lesbian will be feminine for the woman that's imitating a dude. But for a dude, she can't be feminine. You know,
Yeah,
it's amazing.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
amazing.
It, well, that's how you know that there's an element of just pure evil in a lot of what they're saying. I mean, we have to admit that mankind has an enemy, and this enemy is behind most of what we're seeing because they're listening to ideas without really thinking about where they're getting these ideas from. And it defies human logic, so that means that it's got to be coming from an enemy that can whisper directly into your subconscious, and you don't even know that it wasn't your idea. So there's really no other explanation for that. Yeah, I mean, okay, they can't be feminine for you. They can't be feminine for me. They always got the crap testers, test a manhood, book fights for us, as you say. And
Mm-hmm.
then they get what, then turn around and then one of them that will curse you out because she says you made her have to be the man because of what you don't own, mostly because of just the money you and the resources you don't have. She'll turn around and then be the man for another woman, or she'll be feminine for a woman imitating you. But what they're really trying to do is they're trying to drive home the point that you men are intrinsically worthless. They're trying to drive this point into our heads. And who has an interest in making women do this? Honestly, if John could have gotten men to believe that women are intrinsically worthless, he would have gone that route. But since it's easier to convince women that men are worthless, especially when she's young and has options, Shaitan simply went that route because it was more effective. But I mean, you can't really explain that type of thinking and that kind of logic without understanding who the enemy is.
So Jawad says, have you seen any of Brother Nasser Alamin's videos? He does counseling for women, for sisters over 30. No, man, I'm funny like that. Like when it comes to food, I'm not finicky, but what I waste time too. I'm not gonna say I don't waste time on frivolity, but I'm saying like I haven't had the desire to watch uh shows where brothers got more than one wife and they're giving advice and things like that because what that does, it produces uh euphoria. He can give you all the pointers in the world. Your wives, like Abu American said, you walk in, they'll have knives on each other, and you'll end up getting cut. So they give you all the pointers how beautiful it is, and that's those two women, bro. Those and that produces a false sense of hope with brothers. Oh, I can do it too. You, those Americans, if I'm not mistaken, his wives are Americans. So uh, they're Western, So maybe they're Muslim, but they're Western. Yet and still, that's a quality that your percentages go up of pair bonding when you deal with women from more cultured, Islamically cultured environments, although the leadership is trash, right? So you'll do better with that. So I really never had the desire to watch it. I'd rather watch Fresh and Fit than watch, him counsel a woman over 30. You know, if you hit the wall and you're going to be counseled, I don't think he can teach her how to be feminine. He can tell her what men want, but does she have to go to him to learn what men want? She could have just opened up her ears and shut up. I mean, literally. The reason they can't hear us because they're busy talking too damn much. You know, if they just shut up and listen to us, what are men attracted to? We say men prefer young women. No, y'all don't. No, y'all don't. No, y'all don't. My next door neighbor married a 60-year-old. Your next door neighbor doesn't change the narrative. Your next door neighbor doesn't change reality. And this is what they do. We talk in generalities. We talk in the higher percentage, and they talk in the low anomalies. That's what they do. So again, if she's gonna listen to him because he has a counseling degree, Islam doesn't give out counseling degrees. You study Quran and you study the Sunnah and you apply it when it comes to marriage. But a counseling degree only puts you in spaces. But you can't give that advice they teach you in counseling. A lot of that stuff comes from Sigmund Freud and stuff. So I don't know. Like I said, I didn't watch it, so I'm not criticizing the brother. I'm saying I'm not interested in watching him help a 30-year-old that hit a wall become feminine. Because that's one of the things they're going to have to do. You know, I'm not interested. So whenever I'm interested, if I come across it, I'll probably watch it. Because I've seen it and I really wasn't interested. I watched the video. He was sitting on the couch, and he's one of my Facebook friends. You know, he was sitting on the couch and his wife was on the couch, and they were talking about something. They both coach this, coach that. His wives are called coach such and such, coach such and such. And I didn't like. I didn't watch the whole thing. Not because it's not good. I mean, people probably love it. I mean, I know the viewership is high, the subscriptions are high, and all that type of stuff. But I just don't have. I don't know if I'm explaining it right. I don't have the desire to watch it because it doesn't help me. Maybe it helps the people that are watching it, but it doesn't help me at all. And I think that brothers shouldn't be given false sense of hope that they can find uh, two wives that are sit down and do a show with them. You know, I mean, there's a lot of look, bro. There's a lot of problems. I'm not saying that relationship, but there's a lot of problems that happen that you won't see. You know, there are problems that happen with couples on TV. You'll never see. You'll never see it. Why? Because you got to make the donuts. So they go through hardships and fights and yelling and jealousy. They go through that like everybody else, I'm sure. Muhammad Sallam went through it. So they're going to go through it. But you may not see it on YouTube, is what I'm saying. You may not see it on Patreon. You may not see it on Rumble. You may not see it. So I think it sells, not necessarily them. Again, I'm not saying them. Uh, I met the brother, back when he used to be with ANP and NASA Production. He was an Islamic rap group. I had a rap group when I was younger, rapping about Islam and Deen and stuff like that. Back when Soldiers of Allah was out and were big. But nevertheless, so I'm not saying anything about them specifically. I'm saying that it gives out false hope. And that 30-year-old sister, if she listens to him, alhamdulillah, because that means she hasn't been listening to anybody else before that. And that's my take on that. So I hope I said something correct.
Um, well, it's understandable that you would say that you wouldn't listen. I mean, for one, he's counseling women. This is not a counseling that you need.
Yeah. But I'm saying I wouldn't
He,
watch the show because, like, you know, I don't have a desire to
because it's
watch
not.
him counsel women.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't do anything for you. It's not a show that you would need. You see, we as guys, we started off with the wall. We start off behind the wall. We're
Yeah.
in our teens with
Right.
nothing, and not only that, but in the West, it's a double wall because they start off wicked. The women start off wicked before they even women, and they're gamed up when they're before they even put their dolls away as kids. They start off like this, and we start off not knowing anything, not having any resources, but being interested in them. So we start off with the wall, and then we have to grow out of the wall. They start off with all the options and then have to
Yeah.
hit the wall.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
it makes perfect sense. Our
It
experiences
looks
turn
like,
out to be
look
wrong.
at the analogy. Check out the analogy, the one you just made. That'd be a nice meme too. The man is born at the wall, and you know, he has to climb the wall. He has to overcome the wall, right? The woman,
Mhm.
it has large real estate in front of her, and the wall is way off. So the man is trying to get over that wall, and she's moving gracefully, freely, tiptoeing through the tulips, picking daisies and sunflowers, putting them in her hair, and she's walking toward the wall, you know. So by the time he gets
Mhm.
over and she reaches the wall, he's looking way down the field at the new one.
Mhm.
She's at the wall, so he's looking way down the field at that newcomer. You know what I'm saying? And that's a pretty good
Exactly.
analogy, though.
And that's, the funny thing is that I really wish it was an analogy, but that's literally how it played out in my head as I was describing it. I wasn't even thinking about it as an analogy, like I should have been, because it really does start off that way. We start off with no options, and that becomes our frame of reference. So for us, really, for most men, an abundance mindset is just not even, it's not even tenable. It's not even realistic, because when more and more men get these things that women want, they're, especially in the West, the women are just going to move the goalpost, because we know that they've been doing this before, so there's nothing to stop them from doing it again. They'll just keep moving the goalpost. They're never going to quit moving the goalpost, as we said, until they hit the wall. Now, one thing that can happen is that men can treat pre-wall women like they're post-wall, so that they can grow up and get some sense. But the presence of options is going to stop them from growing up in a place like the West. Now, other places, they may not have to hit the wall to get some sense. But in the West, they live by this acronym. They actually live by several acronyms. In NRUITL, NWUITL, NMUITL. And these are pretty much no womanhood until it's too late, no wisdom until it's too late, no reasoning until it's too late, no maturity until it's too late, no intellect until it's too late, no reform until it's too late. In the West, they grow up with that, not until it's too late. And that's why they need the counseling, because they think that they could desensitize us. They think they could desensitize these younger guys, Jawad's age, the way that their older sisters succeeded in desensitizing you and me when we were coming up because of what we didn't know based on the lack of the internet and social media. They think they can do this to these young cats as well, but they can't. And then they find they're not really getting counseling because of their age itself. They're getting counseling because finally they actually run out of options and somebody's willing to actually compare and contrast them to younger women. That's really what's bothering them. It's that they thought that it was going to be one way. It was just going to be easy. I can have a dual mating strategy. I can play with him and get the other guy over there to pay. I can breed with him and get this other guy over here to feed. And so they were really thinking I can cuck the guys I don't even want with the guys I do want. And so the ones I don't want will pay the cost for me to be with the ones I want. And I got it made. They were thinking that that's what it was going to be. And then, they finally came across a generation that said, oh, see, now we know what it is and we're not going for that. That's too much. When you were deceiving our older brothers and our older cousins, they didn't know. But you told on yourself now when we're saying, no, we're not going to accept that deal. They only need counseling because these younger cats are not going to let them do something that damn evil to them. That's really why they need the counseling.
I hope he's telling them, explore polygyny and don't be a headache. Because, bruh, hey, they need to explore polygyny and not be a headache. Don't give that man no problems, because you're going to live alone. You're going to grow old and die with a dog or a cat. And if they post too many animals, they pass the wall. They smashed into the wall. They like a Muriel. You know what I'm saying? If they post too many animals. I know some that post animals are still in the market. I'm like, and like it's not in this dating profile, but the one I'm going to show you, but they got must, we did the ones before, must love my dog. I don't even like you. I don't even like you yet, if at all, and I got to love your dog. What kind of freaky bestiality and invitation is that? But I want to say about the women abundance mindset, because my proposal is that we start adding exes, intimate or not, okay, consummated or not, that we add foodie calls, those guys they sit down with and use them for a meal, and those guys that are at their beck and call with the DoorDash and the and the food delivery, so on and so forth, right? Those guys that they're using, those simps, right? And we also add the work husbands, that guy at work that you tell your problems to, y'all just happen to be in the lunchroom at the same time, you know what I'm saying? That type of thing. You call him your work. I heard a Muslim sister say that, man. Like, man, if I was there, if my daughter says something like that, I would slap her, bro. Real talk, I would slap her in her face. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying that figuratively for you people that are too sensitive. I would not appreciate my daughter saying some stupid stuff like that. When my oldest daughter was in high school, this guy had called her wifey. My daughter muhajiba, you know what I'm saying? So mutahajiba, so she says, I said, wifey? Some dude, right? I said, wifey, what was that? Oh, that's just something we say. I said, yeah, that's something that get you killed. How about that? I said, matter of fact, I'll kill his father. Let him watch his father die. I mean, literally, I said that. I said, I'll let him watch his father die. Then I'll let him live with that for about 5 minutes before I take his life. Don't call my daughter no wifey, Kafir. I was lit, bro. I'm looking for an excuse, okay? So, I mean, I didn't really appreciate that. So again, with this, the women, with these work husbands and I guess these, I don't know if they high school age, they got these high school, boyfriends or high school husbands. I don't know how they work it, bro. The boss is already the boss. If she's working in the job market, you know that's her actual real husband. You're the side husband, and then she got those the subordinates of her boss that are on same level of her as her, which are the work husbands. So all that is abundance, and all that is her body count because she thinks that she can do better than you. But them dudes ain't dealt with her mouth. Them dudes ain't dealt with her disobedience and so on and so forth. And maybe they don't even care about her enough to require they obey. But nevertheless, I want to also add to their body count the abundance of DMs. All those DMs. They have the ability to block them. They have a phone. Their family has their phone number. Why does your family have to DM you? Why won't you block your DMs? Oh, my family might. No, your family has your phone number. You get what I'm saying? And if they want to really reach you, they can reach you on a public post. I've seen it before. Hey, call Jennifer. Call Jennifer. They've been trying to get in touch with you. Oh, okay. And the post ain't even about that. The post is about, oh, look how many cats I got. I got 5 more dogs in the house. You know what I'm saying? That's what the post is about. And one of the relatives will say, call Jennifer. She's trying to get in contact with you. So you can actually block your DMs, but no, they love the attention. That's their currency. They love the attention. So they have this abundance mindset. Every woman, and I'll say it without boasting, every woman that I left alone, that we divorced, downgraded. They downgraded because they thought it was something better out there. And I'm telling them, look, you got somebody that fears Allah enough to never leave you, never oppress you, never abandon you. But you got to conform. I'm not going to become your broad. You got to conform. Let me love you. I mean, subhanAllah. Let me love you. Don't become an obstacle or an opposition. They didn't listen. Downgraded. And didn't want to DM me or text me or call me. Hey, what you doing? Living life. You know. On to the next one that's about to downgrade when we break up. You know. It's madness.
On to the next one. You pretty much saying to them, listen, I'm about to send you a new friend. Y'all can commiserate together. Hold on. That's hilarious is what you're saying to them. But see, that is the training that they have. See, where you live, and that's why I was asking to which nations you'd like to migrate. And you don't have to answer that publicly because I'm not telling my audience exactly to which nation I'm going yet. Unless I raise 14 grand US, I can't afford to disclose my location and my business like that. But the thing is that one of the reasons I do advocate that Western men in generally, and especially Muslims, and especially Muslims of African descent, I advocate this because the training that they're getting is why you keep seeing the next one do the same thing as the last. You're nice, you're giving them chances, you're letting each one show who they are, but the thing is they keep on showing that they're the same ones that you were already with. Because they keep showing that they're the same ones they replaced because they're trained to do that. They're taught that it's wrong for them to be your piece and to be your piece. They're taught that if you go to work and then you come home and you are you rest with her, you're at peace with her, you bend her over and get that cream pie out the way, that you enjoy her cooking, and that you're actually happy that she's there, then they're doing something wrong. That's how they're trained. They're being taught this. Because in these hair salons, that's one of the spaces they have that we men don't go to, by the way. And before social media, that was where they talked, and they could not go and tell on each other that much. They couldn't really do that to a certain extent. Whereas on social media now, they're saying it and it's believable. They're telling on each other, telling on themselves. But they're trained, they're told, girl, you need to do this and get him riled up, and he needs to suffer. And they're taught this. And so you're going to continue seeing that until you not only leave and find someone, but until you leave, find someone, and don't bring them back stateside.
I posted.
It's not just you, it's anybody.
I posted the woman that said, she tweeted it or whatever she said. She said she hates to watch her man lay down peacefully resting. It bothered her that he was, actually at rest and at peace. Because when he's woke, she can't give him peace. But when he sleeps, she probably just staring him down, bro. Just staring him down. You know.
I had
And
an exit.
Jawad, that woman that posted that video is a kafir. Now, is she an actual kafir? Allahu alam. You can't believe in Allah on the last day and attack my deen. You can't. You can't believe in Allah on the last day and attack Allah's deen. If she calls polygyny cheating, she just disagreed with Allah Ta'ala. It's the same when a Muslim woman marries a kafir man, she's no longer Muslimah. Why not? Because she's calling it a marriage. If she had a kafir boyfriend, she would just be a fasiqah. You know, she would just be a female fasiq. Because she had a boyfriend. But when you call it a marriage, when Allah Ta'ala says it's not a marriage, it can't happen. You say, no, yes, it is. Now, when you tell your child, you tell your child, hey, put, that goes there. And let me see, put it like, you tell a child, this is not that. And they say, yes, it is. What is that called? That's called talking back. Is that a punishable offense? Yes, it is. Maybe you get a warning, okay? And my mama, you get your lips laid on the floor. I'm saying, I wasn't raised with my daddy, so it was my mom's fault. Anyway, so well, more than the majority was her fault. Put it like that, okay? He had low patience, and and he shouldn't have to fight for a child. He shouldn't have to fight for a child. Shouldn't be a fight there, So anyway. So the whole point is that my mom, didn't tolerate disrespect, and we didn't disrespect our mother. You know what I'm saying? Not at all. But nevertheless, if my mom says it's this, and I say no, it's not, or I say it's not that, and she say yes, it is, I'm disagreeing with my mother. Okay, we're going to be at odds. When someone is at odds with what Allah Ta'ala and His Rasul Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam taught us, person outside the fold of Islam. You cannot. That's Jewish tradition to disagree with Allah Ta'ala, to be contrary. The Jews believe they can argue with Allah Ta'ala. This is part of their belief. They believe they can argue with Allah Ta'ala. They believe that Jacob wrestled with Allah Ta'ala, got him in some type of headlock, and Allah Ta'ala said, A'udhu billahi min dhalik, said, let me go. He said, I will not let you go until you bless me. So he blessed him and named him Israel. This is what I'm talking about. This is part of their tradition. Who are you to argue with Allah Ta'ala and say polygyny is cheating? Something Allah Ta'ala loves, something that He blessed, something that He legislated. I get tired of these folks, bro. That's why they ask me the silly question, well, how do you know a hadith is sahih? And I'd rather talk about cats and dogs. I ain't finna entertain you. He ended up saying the Quran makes a hadith sahih. Like, wrong. It just, these idiots, man. And when I went to his page, he had pictures like this and pictures like this. Nigga, what you taking pictures of yourself for praying? I mean, yeah, and plus he was in cosplay. He was in cosplay, so I ain't take him serious anyway. These people get on my last nerve, bro, with this stuff, man.
When people have photos of themselves praying, you do have to kind of wonder what that's about. I mean, in all honesty, you can really tell a lot about somebody's mindset by the photographs that they have. Sometimes people simply take photographs of themselves just for identification, or the photographs that they post are of things that they saw. So you're seeing it from their view. And that means that's somebody, psychologically, you can tell that's somebody that's sharing their view with you, and that's different. But then you got people that are posing for photos that they're taking, or they're getting someone to take particular photos of them. And that's when, even if somebody takes a photo of you praying and then sends it to you and you didn't ask them to, there's something going on if you post that pic. Not that praying is wrong, but there's something going on. You're trying to send a message to somebody if you post that picture of them.
Yeah.
But again, that's part of the dysfunctional culture from which we come, and that's why a lot of us are leaving.
I would never marry my daughter to a man that posts pictures of himself praying. Either he lacks knowledge, he lacks the maturity, or he's trying to deceive somebody. That's a war tactic, posting yourself praying. What for?
Well, again, I know where it comes from. I don't agree with it like you, but I do know where it comes from, and that's a cultural dysfunction that we have. Because see, we, and ethnically speaking, and then many other Muslims coming from ethnically Muslim areas tend to have one thing in common, and that is that we really are we hyper scrutinous of each other. We really we trade insults as a sport, but we don't trade compliments. There's like this. You think about it. There's no art to complimenting people, but there's an art to insulting folks, and this is common across a lot of cultures. So what winds up happening is that, I mean, kids grow up in something like this where they're hyper scrutinized, but they're rarely complimented or given positive feedback, even by their parents. So then people have to do things to stunt to try to get positive feedback. Because in all honesty, one of the things that makes it hard for people to get married in a culture like this, especially for guys, is that you already got the fact that women don't like most men. So that the guys have to go through that. Secondly, we're coming out these cultures where it's a sport to roast somebody, but it's almost considered stupid and dumb to give somebody a compliment. Like, you're a fool for giving this person a compliment. Really? Okay. So what that does is it sends a message to a lot of these young folks. I got to go and fish for compliments. I got to set up a good track record of myself, because everybody's going to be looking for something bad anyway. So if I want to get married and there's no picture of me praying, I'm in trouble, because everybody's going to hyper scrutinize anyway. Her dad is, she is at some point. Everybody's going to do it. And if they're going to ask around about me, well, I come from a culture where nobody says anything good about you behind your back. And I'm supposed to get married in a culture like this. So I do understand where it comes from, but that's part of the issue. SYSMB and SYSBM and Passport Bros are reacting to a culture of toxicity. And what we're saying is, okay, now we see that it's a dysfunction, it's not going to work, so we're going to leave. You women are not willing to confront this stuff. You're the ones that are not willing to grow up. Don't talk about what we're doing and what we're promoting and what we're carrying on. You don't want to get rid of this culture of toxicity and childishness. So we're going to go elsewhere, and we're actually going to treat each other like brothers. And so we're not going to go tearing each other down, at least not as much as we normally would do when we're around you all back in the States, or in Jamaica for that matter. And so they're fighting against that. That's what it really comes down to, in a nutshell. This is all tied in together. I mean, that dude Takeoff that just got shot I think it was at Houston at a dice game, playing dice, and he got shot. He didn't have to be rolling dice in the first place. He wound up being taken out. We're looking at
that's something. Jay Prince, he hosts these events, and it was his son's birthday, and dice is something that they always do. So he wasn't in an alley shooting dice. It was part of the festivities, you know. And the altercation didn't start because of dice. It just happened they had to be doing dice. Someone insulted him or whatever, and he said, "Man, I don't play that." He wasn't even aggressive. Where they say he tried to leave. One of his entourage stole on one of their entourage. So the guy that was the protector of Jay Prince's son pulled out a gun, started busting. They all started busting. That's why they thought Takeoff's entourage killed him accidentally. But nevertheless, just as I posted, I don't understand why Takeoff just didn't take off.
Exactly.
Yo.
And we're saying now, and all underneath this whole, and the umbrella term for all of these guys is UBMPT, Union of Black Male Passport Travelers. What UBMPTs are saying in a nutshell is the culture is toxic. And when we decide that we don't want anything to do with it anymore, it's the ladies and the men who validate the ladies that want to say, "Oh, you're lame. You just can't handle the heat. So you running like a B word."
Yeah.
And what we're saying is, no. It's wrong. The culture's toxic. That's what it's going. That's what's happening.
But why do we have to handle the heat? I mean,
Exactly.
we gotta fight. We gotta fight society. They got police officers driving in another district that fear being pulled over. I mean, they got judges and city council people that got pulled over in fear for their life because of the cop. This is real life. A judge gets pulled over and scared for their life because they can't just, you know who I am? They can't do that. They got to go through the procedures, show them the ID. Oh, you're a judge. Okay, all right, you know. And still may not get no respect because they black. You know what I'm saying? So again, but we got to come home with all that, man. Allah Ta'ala says he created us and gave us mates, leteskenu, so you can find tranquility in them. All this stuff, we don't need that. What about, you can't stand the heat. Then stop producing heat, Shaitan. You know, I'm like, man, I get tired. Man, these people, man. Anyway, Jawad said they covered a topic about how some brothers don't tell their previous wives they got another wife. I actually want to do that one next. I actually want to do that one next because I think it's really important. I think it's a tactic of war. They are at war with us. Like Allah says, your wife and your children in your own house can be enemies unto you. So I'm telling you, they are actually at war with us. Not all, okay? And I'm talking about you good women. May Allah bless you all. Good single, good married. May Allah Ta'ala bless you all. I'm talking about those ones. I know them well. They are at war with us. And Muhammad Sallallahu said, Al-Harbu Khuda'a. The war is deception. So I would like to handle that as a topic. Yeah. Yeah. Say Jacob did the God of the Bible. Yeah. Jacob beat him up. I mean, if you got an anus and a pair of testicles, you can get whooped by a man. And that's the God of the Bible. Remember, that's the same God that Adam hid from in the garden and God couldn't find him. You know, Marco Polo. Anyway, I want to get to this delusional dating profile real quick because it's kind of running late.
Yes, sir.
Bear with me, inshallah. I'm going to bring it up. Delusional dating profile of the week. This is Stephanie. Okay. Stephanie. Try to blow it up a little bit. Okay. Delusional dating profile of the week. Stephanie's 35. Oh, I chose this for a reason, and it's not the beer. Okay. So, mother of 4, 2 oldest out of the house. You know. Sometimes they'll say I'm an empty nester. You heard that before? I'm an empty nester.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That means there's no man in the nest. But I'm an empty nester. So all the kids are off. They didn't want to raise kids anyway, but they had to use them against the father. Only way you can be an empty nester if you use the kids against the father. They'll never say I'm an empty nester because I gave them to their dad because he's more fit to raise them as non-degenerates. He's more fit to raise them as productive members of society. They don't do that. They say I'm an empty nester. Means I collected all the child support I'm going to collect. Get out. Get out. So mother of 4, 2 oldest are out. So all the child support's done with them. Currently with my 2 boys. Okay. Looking to settle down. I wonder, I bet, is it not Cynthia G? It's what's the one with the dating thing? She looks horrible with makeup.
Okay, that's pretty much a lot of them. I don't know.
She got the dating thing. She asks, "What's your age? What's your sign? What are your deal breakers?" It ain't Kendra G.
You talking about Kendra G?
No, not Kendra. Kendra. It's not Kendra G. Is it Kendra G?
Well, yeah, there's Kendra D who doesn't do that. She actually calls out the hyenas and praises the
okay,
lions.
it's probably Kendra G. Kendra G. Okay. So anyway, she says she's looking to settle down. Okay? She's looking to settle down. I cook, I clean, I don't cheat. Now, the fact that she says she don't cheat makes me think she's a cheater. Why would that be in your resume? Tell me something about yourself. I come to work. Nigga, you interviewing for a job. You better come to work. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but anyway, I don't cheat. Now, shouldn't that be a given? Or do you think that she should have added that?
It should be a given. If you have to say it, then there's something going on. Now, I don't think she would tell on herself that openly if she really did cheat. Something says no, she wouldn't. But nonetheless, there is something going on.
Maybe she's in a circle of friends that cheat. Maybe her family members are known to do that. So she has to put out, look, I'm different than them. Maybe I'll give her the benefit of the doubt, but I really doubt her benefit. Okay? So I cook, I clean. I understand that because women are not on that these days, bro. They can't even cook, bro. They can't even cook. I have an ex. I told her, hey, when I get over there, make me, she said, boy, I can't cook. I mean,
always that.
Yeah. I'm like, oh yeah, I forget, man. You need to go from one to the other one. You forget which one is worthless.
There's always that. But when she said I don't cheat, she probably does run with cheaters, or
Yeah.
she's probably trying to tell you don't cheat on me because I don't do it to you. It's probably something like that. Maybe she has cheated before and somebody caught her, and she now wants to make sure that just in case you run into her ex, she don't cheat no more.
Subhanallah.
Maybe
Yeah. So
that's
it's like
all I can think of.
Cousin Souza says, 35 mother four. All I need to know.
That's what I'm thinking.
he done
To me,
already
it's like,
he done already disqualified her. Independent means you can't tell me what to do, but I ain't got to that part yet. So it says, uh, I drink cold beer here and there. Okay, so she drinks cold beer here and there. So, do they drink warm beer?
I haven't seen that honestly.
Even the commercials. Look at the can. The can tells you how cold it is. I ain't never seen a commercial. Look at the can. The can will tell you how warm it is. So I drink cold beer. So, okay, she is using the language of alcoholics. Okay. I sure can use a cold one. I've heard that before. I sure can use a cold one. So she's using the language of alcoholics. She's letting, people know she has a beer belly. You know what I'm saying? It ain't from the 4 kids, it's from the beer. So I drink a cold beer here and there. So she'll drink it here. I bet you can't guess where else she'll drink it. She'll drink it there. Okay, so good information. Good information. You know what? I'm gonna start putting their pictures up because she sound fat, but I'm gonna start putting their pictures up. She keep messing with me. Anyway, so and love a good barbecue. Because some people like terrible barbecues, but she likes a good one. So if you can barbecue, that's a plus. And now you got a barbecue. She loves a barbecue, but she loves a barbecue, but she can't barbecue. So you got a barbecue. You know what they say about Father's Day, right? Mother's Day, mother's pampered, spa day, nails, hair, giving gifts, right? Father's Day, he's on the grill cooking for everybody. He's put to work on Father's Day, bruh. We are truly underappreciated, bruh. We are truly underappreciated.
Oh God.
And it's time for it to stop.
Yep. And well, it's not going to stop until more of us leave. You're right. It's time. It's been time for it to stop. It's been at least 35 years time for it to stop. But it's not going to stop until we bounce, until they wake up pre-wall and they can't find us. We gone. That's what it's going to take until every man that's left doesn't know how to do anything useful, and that's why they're still there. That's what it's going to take. Nothing else. Because that's what they've done to us in a nutshell. They functioned as a union. I mean, these women don't like each other, but they all came to an agreement. And of course, not all, but most of them came to an agreement.
It's like America and Britain. They don't like each other, but they hate us more.
They'll cooperate.
Yeah.
They'll cooperate against they'll cooperate against those who they like even less. And that's what these ladies are pretty much saying. I can't stand that B word, but we're both going to treat the same man the exact same way, and we're both going to treat most of them like they're worthless. And we're going to demand a lot while refusing to be and do anything worthwhile. That's what they're pretty much saying. And so they're going to have to wake up one day, and the only guys left are the ones that don't know how to do anything at all, that completely useless. And they're going to have to take care of those men. That's what it's going to take in order for us to not be underappreciated. We got to bounce, man. That's what these passports and these planes are for.
So the man comes home from work when he has a banji, or shaitana in the house. He comes home from work and he sits in the driveway and he takes a big breath. He's like, before he gets out. The woman comes home. She takes a deep sigh. For who in the house? The kids. So the kids are the source of the modern woman's frustration, and the woman is the source of a man's frustration. So where's our refuge? You know what I'm saying? Philippines.
Yeah. And for you, the southern
Yeah,
Philippines,
yeah.
Indonesia, southern Thailand, Malaysia,
I'm
you
scared of
name it.
Thailand, man. I heard, yeah. I
Well,
heard the
that's why I said
I
southern
heard the
Thailand.
boys are good wives.
Yeah, no, that's why for you I said southern Thailand. That's what the
Okay.
Muslims are.
Okay, alhamdulillah.
Um,
Good, good. But hey,
yeah,
there's a sheikh. I don't know if he's in Thailand or not, but he went into a strip club, a dance club, and gave dawah, and the girls took shahada and put on overgarments. He brought overgarments for them in the strip club with overgarments. Anyway, then he went into a part that had all of the Amtraks. I call them Amtraks. They're trannies, but I call them Amtraks. Not trying to get in trouble. So the trainees, So
hmm
yeah, all these Amtraks. He goes in and give them dawah, had them crying. Oh, we need to return back to Allah. So they obviously had some Islamic upbringing. They just chose to be LG TV 4K HDMI. So I don't
and
know
this
what that's about,
was
but
in
this guy going in the clubs,
and
streetwalkers, LG TVs, everything. And he's pretty big
which
on
country was this
TikTok,
in again?
huh?
What country was it again?
I'm gonna send you the link, man. I got the link on WhatsApp. I'll send you the link. Uh, but it's one of those Asian countries. Like, it could be Thailand. Could be Thailand.
Hmm
So, but anyway, it says, okay, barbecue. I'm not Christian, but I do believe in my Lord Jesus Christ, bruh. And she's an imbecile.
She's saying I commit shirk, number one, but you can't hold me to you can't hold me to any moral commitments because of it. That's what she's saying. The worst of both and the best of neither.
Well, you know what I'm
Because when
hearing?
they say I'm not,
When they say
yes,
I'm not Christian, they don't follow the Bible. But she like Jesus as a friend. She
hmm
got Jesus left on red, you know, but she like Jesus as a friend, but not like that, you know.
yeah, she friend zoning. She's
Yeah,
friend zoning the Messiah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Her rendition. So I'm not Christian, but I do believe my Lord, which actually is the definition of a Christian. Christian means to be Christ-like, but in order to qualify, you have to believe in the worst children's story ever told. Okay, I think hunting and fishing is awesome. Guess who's gonna be hunting and guess who's gonna be fishing? You probably got a bait or hook, throw it in the water, and if a fish gets on, she goes, man, come on now.
hmm
Yeah, I mean, anyway, she think hunting and fishing is
That's
awesome.
exactly. I'm definitely. I'd love to see her hunt. That's even. Yeah, that can be a little bit more. I'd love to see her hunt.
No,
Can she do that?
I,
Would
I,
she
I
do that?
think
Does
I
she
need to
even know
start
what she's
saving
supposed to
their
do?
picture. I think what I'm going to start doing, bro, I'm going to screenshot their photo and the bio, okay? And if need be, I'm going to put the picture up. I'm going to have the picture on standby because I'm going to roast them. If it gets there, if I get the feeling, I'm going to roast them. Because boy, I seen Harambe the other day. I said, I thought they
Mm.
shot you. You gotta be careful because you get blocked. I said, I thought they shot you, huh? Oh, never mind. Anyway. So said, but I also love to sit at home after work and watch some TV and chill. So she sits, watches TV, and chills at the same time. She's multi-talented. That's what's called a triple threat. She's a triple threat, bro. She'll sit,
hmm
chill, and watch TV at the same time. Now, not many women can do that, especially after work.
As much as you're joking, you're absolutely right. And the only part that they can't do is the chill part. Oh, they can sit and watch TV, but chill. Oh my God, not when we walk in the room.
Yeah.
No, no. That. I don't even believe that last one. Sit, watch TV, and chill. I don't know why she put that in there because they don't chill when they have the man next to
Jawad say hunting and fishing means she goes to the local grocery store.
them. Just
So
about.
yeah. So So she says, uh, he says, what it says, okay, it says, I also love sports, FYI. So that's one of the catches, I like sports. She don't say which one. She likes sports. I don't even like sports. I like some sports. I'm not going to sit through a cricket game. I'm not going to sit through water polo. I'm not going to sit through I'll sit through a soccer game. I think I will. I'm not going to sit through a baseball game unless it's the World Series. Okay, it got to be something that's really meaningful. A division series or a World Series, something like that. But I'm not going to sit through it. Okay, not even if I'm in the stadium. I got to be in the game. I play baseball in the game. I'm not going to sit through it. That's just me personally. She says she's drama free. Okay, and yes, I have. What is she saying? Yes, I have my own place, car, job, and very independent. Okay, and it says have high. I have high, but I don't know what it says after that because I can't expand it. Nevertheless, so she seemed like a keeper. She seemed like a keeper, bro.
Mm-mm.
Tell her, say, look,
35.
get rid of that white dude with the long hair and get rid of the cold beer. You know, and I'll hook you up with a brother Black Mind.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Well, I don't have an issue that she has kids only because I'm also a dad, but I don't know, man. Something tells me that she's a little, but that she's just not mature enough.
I don't think she's
No, I
attractive.
don't.
Does she sound like an attractive woman?
Well, not in the West, no. I mean, it's hard for me to tell because the only way that I know an attractive woman without seeing them in the West is by the bad attitude. I have to. That's the way I know because the West they just can't look the part and act the part at the same time. It's not something they can do unless there's a major problem underlying, like they got a disease or they're post-war, they just happen to still look good. Something's got to really be bothering them.
But check it out.
So no, no,
She's
I don't
not
think so. I
scarred.
don't think.
I'm reading this. She's not scarred. She's at the wall. She's not scarred. Okay. She's really hopeful. Okay. She's really hopeful. And she throws out, yes, I have my own place, car, job, very independent. Men don't care about that. What type of man cares about that? A man that's not so selective. A man that's in need. You know what I'm saying? A man that's dependent. So she puts the qualifier very independent. You catch that? So
Yeah.
she'll give you a place to sleep, bro. That's what I'm getting from her. She'll give you a place to sleep. She'll give you a
Okay.
place to sleep.
All
I,
right.
I get that from her, which means she's not desirable to most men. I gotta start saving these pictures because once I do this, bruh, and I click the X and try to find me another one, I can't go back to it. It just doesn't let me do it. You can't go back and revisit these, you know. Or there might be an option I may be able to find it again. I'm gonna try to find her picture. I think what I'm saying is true. I don't think she is desirable to most men. And that profile picture is gonna tell us everything we need to know.
The fact that she's even on a dating site usually that usually says something right there. Um, I haven't I haven't taken a look at a dating site even from I mean a serious long look at one even from when I was not Muslim because I knew that once you put yourself as a back then this we're talking like early 2000s late 90s and early 2000s I knew once you put yourself as a guy on a dating site the women automatically thought there was something wrong with you because you were on that site even though they were on the same ones I knew that much and now, after being Muslim and only seeing them in passing and as jokes or seeing screenshots, honestly, I'm beginning to apply the same logic to them. Why they're on dating sites? I know that online dating seem to be as acceptable, but I don't blame guys for going on, let's say, marriage sites. I don't blame guys for going on marriage sites. I look at the women and say, well, you're the one with the options. You didn't start off behind the wall. What you on that site for? Seriously, what's the deal? Um, how is it that nobody's looking on your behalf if it's a dating or even if it's a matrimonial site unless your parents are on that site looking for someone on your behalf. How is it that you don't have anyone looking for on your behalf? So no, I don't read these profiles and then see a photograph later where they're nice to look at. To be honest with you, the fact that she was on here told me that she was unattractive. The stuff that she said, there was really nothing that separated her from other women. Honestly, all this stuff is stuff that I've heard before, all of it.
Yeah.
Drama free, I've heard that before, and they're lying. They're not drama free. They
Yeah,
can't.
but this one right here seems to be selling herself. She hasn't given up. She's trying to sell herself to a particular guy, and I fear for her that she's going to get done wrong. That's what I fear
Yeah, I
that
kind
she's
of
going to
fear.
get done wrong.
I would, well, now that you mention it, I share that same fear. But like you said, selling herself, well, I mean, she's 35 and had 4 kids, and 2 of them are out the house. Come on, 35. How old are they now? If they're out the house, how old was she when she had them? Yeah, she needs to sell herself. And
Yeah.
one of the things that is really unfortunate for a lot of these women is the lack of concubinage.
Yeah.
It's not there anymore. And that turns out being bad for a lot of these women because they just gonna have to do it by themselves. They're gonna have to take care of themselves. Can they get their own money? Yeah, they can. That's great. That's fine. But now they've got to do it by themselves because there's nobody for them. They hit the wall, or even before the wall. Some of them go hit the wall prematurely when they do stuff like her and have kids at 16 and 17. Because she said 2 are out the house. Now that means that she's got 2. That means the youngest one is probably 18. The youngest. So how old was she when she had the oldest one? She hit the wall prematurely. She better sell herself.
Yeah. Yeah. 4 out of the house, man. What you say? Two oldest out of the house. Like she just
Hmm.
35. Yeah, she just 35, bro. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And if they were adopted, she would have said, "I adopted them." So that's not what it is. She let somebody hit that when she was young, and I don't know
The
how old
oldest
that
she
dude
could
was.
be is 17 when the oldest one. You know what I'm saying? Cause we usually go about the 18 age range. And she could have been, like you say, she could have been young. She could have been 13. You know. Uh,
Yep, it's possible. Somebody was going to try to hook me up with a lady that had a kid, and he said she's really a nice lady, but she had her first kid at 14. That's the only thing you need to know about it. And I had to look back and say, I didn't have a kid at 14. Hell,
mhm.
um, I wasn't experienced at 14. I
Yeah.
didn't have a body count at 14. So no, that's not going to happen because she's a real nice person, a real nice girl. That's why she's nice.
Yeah.
And now at 46, I understand that what we got to do is we got to move to areas where the women don't have to hit the wall and go through this to realize they need to be nice.
Yeah.
See, we're looking at these profiles, and like you said, you got a delusional dating profile every week because they're never running out because the delusion doesn't stop because somebody told them when they were young you shouldn't be nice to guys when you're cute and young and you got options. That's what someone said to them, and now we're seeing they're delusional because they done lost all that. Now they want to be nice, like we don't know what the deal was before. What she needs is a guy that either she needs to be a concubine or she needs a guy in the exact same position as her, a 35-year-old who got 2 kids out the house that are no longer kids.
Yeah. Yeah. So like she was raised probably by a single mom. But she's not bitter. She's looking for love, bro. So she's looking to settle
Mhm.
down. Her expectations are high. She didn't say marriage. She said settle down. So she's looking for something more stable and lasting. And I don't think she's desirable to most men. But like I said, if I remember, I'm gonna try to find that profile. I'm gonna try to find it, and I will expose her for the. I will expose her, subhanallah. Anyway, well,
Yep.
that's all that I have for this week. Alhamdulillah, shukran as always, Ak, for joining me. I know I'm kind of just popping it on you, bro, because like on my template, I got with Black Mind. So I might put it out with your name on it, but don't feel obligated. You know what I'm saying? If you got something to do, you can't do it, right? But I kind of had it on the template, and I put it out without even changing it, to modify it or asking you first. But I appreciate you coming on anyway, bro. It's really benevolent of you to come on, especially when I didn't give you proper notice or get your permission to put your name on the flyers. SubhanAllah. Oh, you there?
Well, you're bored. Okay, I'm here. Yeah, you
Okay.
bored until the sound went out completely, but you just came back just now. And
Okay.
you're very welcome, and thank you, if anything, for having me on. And hopefully, hopefully, we'll get your channel monetized as well, so that you'll have more time to do this, and we'll have more. Excuse me, we'll have more money to put towards your son's dowries.
I'm trying to find someone that does the internet thing. Uh, Amo Yusuf has he does that digital marketing and stuff like that. I'm trying to find someone to do it for me, and work out something with them. You know what I'm saying? I don't expect anybody to do anything for blessings. So I'm looking for somebody to actually pay to help do the promotion to reach more ears. But as we reach more ears, you gotta be more selective in your speech. You gotta be more, and that's the problem with reaching more ears. You become what they call an influencer, and once you can influence, that's when they need you to advertise. When you can influence, that's when they need you to toe the line to get out the narrative, right? So that's one of the fallbacks. Now they haven't canceled Fresh and Fitna. I think they generate too much income. But Tate was generating as much, if not more. But see, the degeneracy that Fresh and Fitna promotes is what the society wants out there. That benefits the society greatly, right? So I can be more. I can have more tact, more decorum. I could, tune, tune things down and saying the same thing, you know. But I'm gonna make a lot of mistakes, bro. I mean, I'm gonna make a lot of mistakes. So, like I said, if I find somebody to help me with the marketing aspect, uh, trying to organically build. There are people watching that you can't even see right now. You can't. I mean, I don't know if you can see the number that's in the room, but it's actually more than that. Uh, I get a call, I'll get a text, I'll get a DM. Hey man, good show. You was right on point when you said such and such. So I could tell they actually watched it, but I can't see them in the room. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it works. So, but definitely to reach more ears that actually, not of the same mindset, but willing to dialogue, even debate. I'm not afraid of that. But like I said, right now, I just do it for the blessings. And some people might say, well, what's the blessing in this? Well, we're removing the wool, the what do you call the tasawwuf, we're removing the wool, that harsh, coarse wool, removing that from the eyes of people and telling them exactly what it is. If it seems kind of one-sided, well, I'm a man, I'm not interested in men, but I will expose men. Matter of fact, in this podcast, I talked about simps, cucks. We talked about people men that deceive. You know what I'm saying? We talk about all kind of stuff like that, but those parts they won't hear. They'll only hear the female critical parts, even though we're not saying all. They'll only hear that. So again, like I say, it's a hard road, man. Once you become an influencer, they want you to toe the line. Kyrie Irving, the NFL does Thursday Night Football on Amazon, right? So Bezos selling that same movie, that documentary, number 1 and 2, okay? Bezos hosting it, Bezos selling even the book that preceded the documentary would not be criticized because the NFL has a deal with him and the NBA has a deal with him, okay? But Kyrie Irving will be attacked. He will be attacked for just posting it with no commentary. He could have been putting thumbs down. You don't even know. No commentary. They attack that man. They're trying to ruin him. They're trying to ruin him. SubhanAllah.
They absolutely are. Because in a nutshell, some things people will allow, uh, they'll allow someone like them to say about them, and they'll punish others that are not like them saying it. Uh, in a nutshell, I've dealt with the same thing. I mean, I've talked about certain dysfunctions that happen in our culture. But when some people have had a look at me, they don't know me very well, but they've seen me personally, then they say, you can't sit up here and just be bashing black people like that. But if it's another black person that's more recognizable, they can do that and it's okay because the assumption of hatred is not there. Whereas in my case, they assume that I'm saying some kind of hatred, even though I'm actually African American.
Yeah.
I've seen this happen before, and a lot of times they don't even realize they're doing it. But when these folks are going after him and leaving Bezos off the hook, I think they're consciously aware that they're doing that. They're differentiating in their reactions, but they'll learn. I mean, the tide has to turn, and it's probably going to be fairly quickly because really a lot of their own youth are looking and saying, you know what, we're not going with this double standard anymore. Um, and but that's going to be, I guess, a talk for another one. Now, what did you say you were going to do next week again? What should I
Well,
prepare for?
talking about getting married and not telling the second wife. Now, I touched this before. I touched it before, but actually talk about that we're at war. So is this an acceptable deception? Not telling the first wife about the second wife, or not even telling the second wife you have a wife. I have an interesting perspective on it. You probably can already guess it. You know what I'm saying, but I think that'll be something to talk about next week, inshallah. Are we at
Okay,
war?
looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
Look,
Are we at war?
I have an idea as to what your perspective is going to be, but I'm interested to hear it because you don't stand on platforms that don't have either approval or justification from our predecessors. So
Yeah.
I will be really interested to hear what this is. You're going to bring some knowledge that we didn't know before. And I'm going to put up a link to it. So when you get next week, inshallah, just remind me that when you get started, remind me to put a link up to it so that more people are going and give it a listen. Fair enough?
Inshallah ta'ala. I'll definitely send it to you. Send you the flyer as well. But nevertheless, thank you for coming on again. As always, thank you, Brother Jawad, Brother Abdul Wali. Brother Khaddam didn't come today. I don't see him, but he could be actually in the room. Brother Kaiser Souza, and everybody else that came in and offered their salams. I even want to thank the one that's in here posting porn. Have you see that idiot? Sex fine
I
info.
did. I'm
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not an admin, so I couldn't get rid of him. But what I was able to do was, I mean, I just blocked him so he can't come on my channel.
Yeah, I,
That's
I
all I
got
could
I
do.
got to go to YouTube and block him because he's on YouTube and he's in the comments. They'll post that comment. I'm sure he'll put it as a comment in YouTube, and I got to go block it over there and block it as spam, pornography spam or whatever. So anyway, again, thank you for coming on, Aki. Inshallah ta'ala, see you next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Walaikum salam, and thank you for having.
Alhamdulillah. So again, thank y'all for coming on. We'll have a new delusional dating profile of the week, and we're gonna talk about that subject that Jawad brought up about not telling the second wife, and we'll talk about not telling the first wife, and we'll talk also about not telling the second wife, or the third, or the fourth. Inshallah ta'ala, till next time, may Allah ta'ala bless and guide you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.